And we are live. Hey, Concrete.
Hey, what you got going on in the background? Sounds like you falling down a flight of stairs.
Girl, I just picked up my microphone. My microphone was sitting on the chair, child. It's been
Okay.
morning.
I got you. What's going on with you?
Girl, sad that the weekend is over, but happy because my vacation starts next week, honey.
Don't rub it in.
Yes.
That's not nice.
Why?
It's really cruel.
Child, you the only person who wants to go on vacation and work. I never understood it. I
You
still
know
don't
what?
understand it. You go on vacation just to work. Child,
Listen, because I have to take time off in order to get stuff done that I need done, my little projects and stuff. So.
baby, listen.
You ain't planning on working on your vacation at all?
No, girl, I ain't gonna be at home. That's why I leave.
Oh, smart woman.
Shit. I know if I'm at home, it's always something to do, like
You playing it
forever.
smart. Yeah.
Yeah, like, no, ma'am.
Mm.
It's always something to do at home, always something to arrange, always something to
Hmm.
wash,
Hmm.
always a floor to sweep, a toilet. Child, it's too much. No.
Y'all need to start the kids on their chores early, child.
Listen,
Hmm.
it is my baby's birthday today, and
Oh,
she had me dying laughing. So Solomon
what
got
she
on
do?
punishment or whatever.
Hmm.
And he got off punishment. So uh one day we were sitting there, it's just me and her. And
Hmm.
Solomon, when he gets on punishment, he'll play with her. But when
Hmm.
he's off punishment, he's
He
playing with
don't want
me
nothing to
all
do with
day.
her. Don't be doing
Yeah,
that, baby,
like,
like that.
well, I ain't gonna say he don't want nothing to do with her, but
Oh,
he's gonna kick it with her more when he's on punishment.
right.
So I was like, Solomon had did something, so it was like his punishment wasn't gonna be real big, but she was like, well, you know what else you can make him do, right? And I was like, what? And she was like, you could make him wash the dishes every day.
No, she wasn't giving you suggestions.
Girl, I hollered. I
Oh
was
wow.
like,
that playtime gonna be really cause show. She keep doing that. She's supposed to stick
baby.
with him. Uh-uh.
And I have to tell her, like, you gotta that's gotta be your ally.
Yeah.
When
He
you
gonna be
get
like,
in
oh.
trouble. You know what I'm saying?
He gotta school her. He gotta school her.
Yeah, I was
Like, we gotta be in
hollering.
this together.
Right. She was like, you can make him wash dishes. Like
She too cute.
he don't do enough. And she ain't lying. She
She
ain't lying.
too cute. Okay, but
Yeah.
they don't have like Solomon. She's a baby, but they don't have. Solomon doesn't have chores at all.
No, no, no. Please don't get it confused, baby. I'm a
Oh.
black woman from Mississippi. Honey, listen.
Uh-huh.
He does not have a whole lot of chores though.
Okay.
But we're very structured. So
Okay.
he's gonna clear the table, he's gonna
Okay.
collect all the dishes, sweep up. Now, baby, he
Yeah.
don't do nothing but smear trash all over the
Listen, I know you
listen,
got to go behind him. I already know that. I
girl,
know that part.
girl. Keep his room clean, which
Okay.
he does that for the most part. For the most part. Now he's still a boy and we still
Yeah.
working. And I am a spoiler.
Hmm.
So, my kids, they ride each
Yeah.
other. But now, I'll say for the most part, they do what they're told. They don't
Good.
really give us a whole lot of issues.
That's good, child. These kids, they will do just enough. My kids, they didn't have like they had. I used to assign them like you know to the chore of washing dishes, and that wasn't until they was like 13. And it was still always oh, I forgot, I fell asleep. And you remind them three, four, five
Wait
times.
a
Don't go to
minute. Do
sleep
you
without
wake
washing
your
them dishes.
listen? Do you wake your kids up when they have not done their chores, like in the middle of the night?
No, I've never woken them up in the middle of the night. Like it was always going to be dealt with the following morning.
I always felt like that was like cruel and unusual punishment.
Like you interrupting them baby sleeps, and a
Baby,
lot of
I
black
done got
women they
woke
wake
up.
you up whipping your tail, like you
I
you get startled
girl,
from your
I
sleep by a belt.
listen. I am a victim of that.
Hmm.
And it's happened quite a few times now. My mom was crazy as hell. My mom left me a note. I had to be about in the 10th grade. And my mom
Mhm.
was like, you need to clean this MFing room right MFing now. Do not let me come
Mm.
home in this effing room. And I mean like cursed all on the note and was like, love
Oh.
you, mom. And I was like, this is crazy. My mom was crazy as hell, but left me a whole note cursing me out, telling me to clean my room. Like my grandma woke me up out of my sleep one day with a broom because I didn't wash dishes. So yeah, it's real out here.
I never got woke up like because I forgot to do chores. Like I was really like I'm a pretty clean person, so I always did my like I would do extra stuff so I could get like extra privileges. Like okay, my chore might be to wash the dishes, but
Ain't
I'll
that how
clean
it
up
is
so I can go outside or stay out late or you know. So what you mean ain't that how it is now?
now? You do extra stuff.
You know
For
what?
extra
I'm
you are
not.
the extra credit friend. You was
I've
always
always been.
I turned in my homework, wouldn't let nobody cheat off your paper type of girl.
I was
Stop.
always like that. I didn't play that. I wouldn't
Why
allow
you didn't
people
let
to cheat
nobody
on my
cheat off your paper?
because
I
do your
love
own work. I put in work for this. I had to study or do what I was supposed to do in order to get this good grade. You're not looking at my paper. I will literally put my arm up to cover it up. You know.
you know there's two types of people in this world. People that let people cheat on their paper and people who don't. Mm.
Listen, I was helping them by not allowing them to cheat because I'm forcing
No,
you to
girl,
actually develop better study habits.
girl,
Listen, I'm
you
just saying,
lied to me like
you got me pegged right because I definitely was a hater. You ain't looking over here at my paper. No, baby.
no. Let them folks look on their damn paper, girl. Stop tripping.
Listen,
It is
and
the
that's
worst.
why I didn't like working in group projects either because I felt like
I
I was
know.
always the one pulling more of the weight than the other people. Like, just let me do. I do the whole group project by myself. I don't want to work with people and they get credit for what I did. No, nope.
That wait a minute. Shout out
Oh.
to the real Chris Hansen. You really,
These people
really
play too much.
appreciate it.
They play entirely too much. Mm.
Right now, Bernard is doing a show
Mm-hmm.
on the age of consent.
Mm.
And being that we are in these United States where our laws are they should be a little clear or pretty clear. Even if they aren't clear, if you F up, you going to jail if you get caught. If you get
Mm-hmm.
caught.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand the debate surrounding those laws unless we're talking about raising the age of consent. And
Mm.
I think that I honestly think 16 is too young to have sex.
Okay.
Um
Was you having sex at 16?
oh girl, girl,
No, I'm
I
just
no,
saying. No,
no,
I just
I'm gonna keep it a
asked.
buck. I'm gonna keep it a
Mm-hmm.
buck. I actually
Mm-hmm.
lost my virginity a month before my 17th birthday, like an exact month.
Okay,
So
okay.
in the crazy thing was it was a very horrible experience, like a very horrible experience.
Oh.
And it just turned me like it was crazy because I felt like all my friends were doing it. And I
Mm-hmm.
was such a follower back then. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to see what the hype was. And then I was like, oh hell no, this ain't
My
it.
first, mine was horrifying too. I don't know where the glory is in it, and it took me a long time thereafter
Me
before I
too.
wanted to be intimate
Me
with the
too.
guy. So
Me
yeah.
too. Yeah, it was horrifying. And I was like, yeah, I was like, motherfuckers around here lying. Somebody lying.
Yeah, like
No,
what's
no.
tea? Y'all lied. All that gassing y'all was doing.
Yes.
I feel
And
you.
yeah, it was horrifying though. But shout out to D-Mac the trucker. He says to answer the question to the topic, modern women aren't masculine. Modern women are just for the streets. Marriage is dead.
Ooh.
Why don't
We
y'all
gonna
get
talk
that?
about it, D-Mac. Yeah, okay,
D-Mac, I'm
well.
a 41-year-old woman that just got married back in June. It is not dead.
We gonna talk about it. I ain't even gonna give my opinion on that, but okay, I hear you.
Right. D-Mac
I
already
did
know what
wanna
it is.
D-Mac, look, he like let me put this on the table right now. But I, as it relates to the age of consent, I think that 16 is an adequate age of consent. There are some states that the age of consent is as low as 14. I think that that's too young, way too young.
Yeah.
I think that 16 is, adequate for age of consent. People develop differently as it relates to their mental. So, at 18, you are grown. So, I guess my question would be for you, what would you think that an appropriate age would be? 18 as opposed to 16?
Yeah. I think if you are old enough to vote,
Mm-hmm.
um, you're old enough to go join the military. I think that would be a good age of
Mm-hmm.
consent. You're not a baby. You can make decisions. I think 18 would be a great age across the board. It
Mm.
wouldn't be any confusion, anything. And
Okay.
yeah, so I think 18 would be perfect.
Um, yeah, I feel you. I think 16 for me is okay. I think that I would still caution my child and people that I have any direct influence over to wait until they're mentally mature and advise
Right.
nothing to rush into. Like
Yeah, because you
it ain't the flex that people think it is. It really
no,
ain't.
and I don't think we as a society do enough justice in preparing our children or young adults for
Hmm.
sex, period, and everything that comes with sex. Sex is more than uh that the physical act of it. It's a lot
Absolutely.
more than a physical act, and especially for people with emotions and feelings and
Hmm.
yeah, and everybody just kind of wants to make it just a wham bam thank you ma'am and make it extra transactional, but there's repercussions with that. And so
Yeah, I agree with that too. And I think just understanding the seriousness of the action and also people understanding that, sex is a procreative act. I got pregnant shortly after I started being sexually active. So,
oh
understanding the
man,
nature of, yeah, your actions and that what that can lead to, even with protection, which is not 100%, and just really truly understanding the ramifications of your behavior when you decide to engage in sex. I think that it is something that people who are of adult age should be more apt to engage in. But yeah, so I think that it's about, for me, it's about their mentality and them having a full understanding of what it is that you're getting yourself into, and understanding that it ain't the flex that people think it is. And once it's gone. The thrill is gone. And come on,
yeah.
yeah, but yeah.
Do you think your parents prepared you adequately?
No. My dad is just very overprotective daddy. Like, I was always daddy's little girl. I was the first girl, and just, that wasn't a conversation that I had with him. And as it relates to my mom, I grew up in a home, in a family where, like, even to this day, I was actually just thinking about this morning, that my family was remiss in having certain conversations with me, because I still view sex in like a certain light. Like, it was like in religious homes, like my family was Pentecostal, like it was looked at as this dirty thing. And
Yeah.
because of that, people didn't have conversations about it. When I started like really like, being interested in my boyfriend, and like it was we had our puppy love, and I was like, oh, started to take interest in boys. I actually went to my mom and sat down and told her, like, and we had the conversation regarding birth control, and she said no, that would be giving me permission.
Yeah, I I think now my mom and grandmother tried to prepare me, but I think my grandmother actually gave me like a sort of PTSD because like I said,
Mm.
everything she thought I was every like if I was a tomboy, but I got accused of being fast.
Yeah,
Or
that's what my family too. Oh, you so fast. That's all you. I'm like,
yeah,
wait,
and
what?
so my mom didn't treat me like that. Mom,
Hmm.
I feel like my mom had a better strategy for going about it than my grandmother. My grandmother would hurt my feelings, make me feel some type of way, and I wasn't
Mm,
even doing anything. And
right.
so, and you kind of think about the way that impacts your self-esteem with somebody treating you a certain way and you don't even know what the hell is going on, especially as it pertains to sex. And then
Hmm.
you could have urges and shit, but um if somebody isn't really nurturing you in that aspect, then I think you would make um bad decisions or poor decisions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, you don't
I
make
agree.
decisions when people go at it a certain way because you like,
Yeah.
well, shit, you think I'm doing it anyway, or you treat me like this, so you'll start to seek validation out through your
Oh,
peers
yeah.
or whatever. So I think it does make a difference. And so when
I
my
agree.
mom talked to me about it, my mom came more so from a, I know what it's like to be your age. I've been
Hmm.
there. So I'm not gonna bullshit you on this. Let's talk. And
Mm.
I felt like I was freer to talk to my mom about it than my grandmother. Like I could never go to my grandmother and talk
Um,
about something like that.
I definitely didn't feel free to talk to my mom about it. And my mom, I think my mom was old, like kind of like, I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I made
Right.
because she got pregnant young. She was a teen mom and she, was from a Southern family. So she got married immediately following the birth of my oldest brother
Yeah.
because that's what you did. But she just kind of like her shutting down and kind of like putting that wall up made me kind of have to resort to my friends for knowledge and conversations regarding,
Right.
what it was like and this, that, and the other. So I think that my family was remiss in having those discussions because seriously, as at my grown age, there are still some things like it's still a taboo topic for me. Like and to be completely honest, I talk to my daughters. Have always kind of tried to do things differently with my daughters, even
Mhm.
when they started to kind of like show interest. My oldest daughter, she, was telling me about a little boy that she was liking, and by this time she was like 16. And she was like, "Well, mom, I just want you to meet him. Like he lived close by." And then I met him, and they ended up dating, and that was who she was engaged to. So they were together. That was her only boyfriend ever, and they were together until recently. They broke up, not recently, but earlier this year. For years, that was the only person that she had dated. Now, because my younger daughter saw that my older daughter was dating, she was like, "Well, I should be able to date too." And I'm like, "Girl, if you don't sit down." So it was kind of like a different dynamic with her, but I did explain to her why and that I didn't feel like she was ready. And that, once she became a little older, we would have the conversation and revisit the conversation. But I didn't shut down. I wasn't like, "Oh, no," my mom, I feel like she was very old fashioned in the way in which she operated. And as a result,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't think that it benefited me.
Yeah. It's like that sometimes. Shout out to Eisen. He says, well, what do you suggest then? Because a lot of young colored boys had their first sexual experience with an old colored woman, with old colored women. How you
Really,
gonna
Isa.
level it? Eisen, I think that it should be the same way all the way around. I think the
Mm-hmm.
problem is Black women totally ignore Black women as being sexual predators, period. It is something that is so untalked about. It goes unchecked, I think in a higher number than even probably white women. Because you'll see a white woman on the news for messing with these teenage boys. You'll see all of them on the news. And then that's something that's generally attached to white women. With Black women, it's happening more prevalent than most of us can imagine. Like it's a thing that's happening, that's happened. Um, the problem is everybody gives the boy props like he was the dominant one in that situation because he was able to bag this old woman.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality of it is that woman is actually victimizing
Mm-hmm.
a young boy. And we
Mm-hmm.
don't we don't look at it like that because we are trying to rush our boys to be men. And older women, I think some of them feel like that's what they're supposed to do is teach them how to be a man, teach them how to do certain things, and
Yeah.
how to handle women. And I think that's the thing that really goes unchecked within our society.
Yeah.
It's hard. So,
I agree on both sides, both older women or older men who date younger, especially underage, have not date, have sex with and engage in sexual encounters with younger people. A lot of times it's about grooming them too, though. Like
yep,
there's some sort of satisfaction they get out of being able to groom someone younger.
yep. That's so true. So true. Well, I did have something else I wanted to talk about. Um, so I wanted to talk about how sexy is too sexy when you have a husband or a significant other. And it stemmed from this. One day I was scrolling Facebook and I saw that one of my Facebook friends got married, and she got married to a guy I know or whatever. I know him more so than I know her because he used to be out and about, so he's a cool guy. And you know, I added her by proxy, whatever. So they got married last week, and then she had a birthday, and she posted some very very provocative pictures, like pictures of her in a thong, and I was like, damn, like you just got married and there's still like a lot of advertising.
Hmm.
And I was like, well, damn, like if you just got married, like what is there a need to put out certain types of pictures for? And I wanted to know your opinion about that.
Um, I mean, it's not my forte, but I've never ever really been like one to be too revealing. I may wear something a little sexy, but not like too short where you can see the cheeks. Not ever wear a, thong bikini or anything like that. Even if it's primarily like an adult beach or an adult theme party or adult party. I just that's not kind of who I am as a person. I'm a little bit more modest, but I do have to admit that understanding that my fiance is who he is has makes me even more modest. Like sometimes when I put something on and I'll be like, "Oh, I like this," but I want to ensure that I'm respectful of him. And this, y'all may say this is pick me, but I don't give a damn. So I'll ask him like, babe, do you think this is too short? And sometimes he'll be like, that's a little short, but most of the times he's like, no, you look good. So
Right.
like, yeah, he's not even ever really concerned about. He knows that I'm always going to be respectful of him with how I dress, even whether he's with me or not when we go out. But I want to like to me, I think that like the unwanted attention it can cause problems. I already know who my fiance is. I know if somebody disrespects me, it's going to lead to a problem. So why put myself in a position where I got on something tight and little? Somebody tried to somebody is disrespectful to me en route to the restroom or something, and then I got to explain it to him, and then it's a whole big like. I think that that's what I talk about when I say protecting that Black women have a duty to also protect Black men.
Hmm.
That's how you protect your Black
Yes.
man.
Yes. I thought about that because I had this conversation recently, and so guys are like, okay, what if I want my woman to look like that? What
Mm.
if I don't really have an issue with her being like that chick, like the one who grabs all the attention, whatever, whatever. And I was just like, I don't mind some attention. It's not necessarily that you have to go out and seek it, but you do want to look nice for your man. But I think being a good representation of him is very very important. Like you want to be able to represent your man um in the most classiest way. But when I saw those pictures, and she does come across as a classier, not I'm not gonna say a classier chick, but a classy chick. So when I
Mhm.
saw, I was like, damn, like you literally just got married. Like you gonna post the thong up? Like
But
you couldn't
some
save
men
that
do like
one?
that. But I think that that's all ego too. Like the men who generally like that, I feel like y'all ain't gonna like this, but there's a little bit of insecurity within them. They kind of like, look what I got. Like it's kind of like they have a trophy, and or
Yeah.
like they're pedestalizing their chick. Like, look how fine my chick is. Y'all can't get. Like I think it's kind of like that's really rooted in ego, where a man, because some men do, they encourage their women or buy their women skimpy clothing, and or some men are just what's the word that I want to use, passive, so they're not going to say anything, and the wife runs the show, so they aren't going to feel comfortable saying anything to her about what she has on.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, then it already looks like the leadership is somewhat shifted. Do you think
Hmm.
men who tolerate a woman or who likes that, do you think they are more subservient in the marriage?
Oftentimes, yes. Either it's someone who is, sometimes it's men who are more, where the woman is the more dominant party in the relationship, and sometimes it's the man who's showing off his woman, and he's all
Mhm.
ego and he's very dominant, but he wants the world to see what he has. And like I said, I think that that's rooted in insecurity, and it may not be that the man is like a slouch now, but maybe at some point in his life he couldn't get that type of girl, so now that he has her, he want to show her off.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do have a question for you that I want to segue into. So while we're talking about this topic, did you see the good sis Lizzo at the at Cardi's party that she went to?
With the purple
Yeah.
seafood.
Yes.
Girl.
So
Yeah, I saw
listen,
that shit.
my good sis has been getting torn up on these interwebs. And I've seen most people say, what the heck? And but I've seen some people like say, she y'all man, she confident and just stop fat shaming and yada yada yada. But I saw her respond in her response to what people had to say. She gets on the camera and show her big tail by bending over and pulling her pants down.
The problem that
Ah,
I had,
go
girl,
ahead. Mm.
um, it's not even that she's big or she can't be tasteful or that's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be the primary thing that everybody is focused on. Adele ass lost weight like 2 years ago, but Adele was a big girl, and I
Mm-hmm.
rarely heard people making fun of Adele as opposed to talking about Adele's talent.
Right, right.
Aretha Franklin was a big woman for a long time.
But ain't nobody talk about Auntie Rita. Like
But
they knew not
you
to
want
come for
to
her, but she was
know,
very classy.
she was very, very, very classy.
Mm-hmm. Now
There,
she would have them
Patty,
titties hanging out, but she wasn't like going outside naked or half naked. You know what I
right?
mean?
Wasn't Patty LaBelle big for a quick second?
She wasn't like, oh yeah, she would have been considered plus size, yes,
Yeah,
technically, because plus size is anything over a 10.
yeah. So she was a plus size woman. So then I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, like, supposedly she has great talent.
Mm-hmm.
And we are out of the days to where people really puts their talent on display as opposed to being a sex kitten for any and everything. And Lizzo tries to fit the role of a sex kitten.
Mm.
Um, I personally am tired of seeing all the same fucking dance moves, everybody naked, like everybody has this one upman. Like, if you do this, I'm gonna do this. If you do this, I'm gonna take this. And it's getting lower and lower to where you can't even focus on the talent, but you focusing on this bitch showing her natural naked nasty ass on fucking IG. Then you getting people are actually literally like flagging and taking down streams because you're showing all this. To be honest, it's not classy. There's nothing classy about it.
I agree.
And I'm not saying this shit because Lizzo's big. If another star did this, I would say that she was unclassy too.
People said y'all ain't had that to say about Riri when she wore a similar outfit.
You know what? To be honest, um, we have to keep in mind that everything isn't for everybody.
No, you
Keep
just
that
said you would
in
say the
mind.
same thing no
If,
matter who it
no,
was.
no, I would say if a chick got on, if Riri got her ignorant ass up there and was twerking on Instagram Live naked, butt booty ass naked, I would say you nasty wench. Get your ass somewhere and sit down. The problem is you lack class and fucking composure. It used to be a point in time where things had appropriate places and times. There was a time and place for everything.
Mhm.
Now the internet is just a place for everything. You do whatever the hell you want, whenever the hell you want, and all because you want validation. You want a certain type of validation that you aren't getting, so you take it a bit lower and a bit
Mhm.
lower. Then you get your ignorant ass up here crying about how people fat shaming and talking about you and doing this, that, and the third and bullying you, and you say you don't care on one breath, and then you do something else even
Mhm.
more so outrageous. So it's like, what the hell is the point? Like, ew.
Yeah.
Go somewhere and sit down.
I definitely thought that it was classless, especially her response. And then she continues to insist that she don't give a damn about what anyone thinks. Clearly you do, sis. Clearly you pressed,
She does.
because you wouldn't have created a whole live stream and about what people have to say about you and get up there and show your big moon. Like, don't nobody want to see that. Like, I found it very, very, very tasteless. I did not, I was not, impressed by her response. And I think that people have a right, like, even if you're not a public, these days you don't have to be a public figure. It's not just, oh, you're a public figure so you're going to get criticized. No matter who you are, if you go out in public, you could be in your own home and post something on the internet from your own home, and you're opening yourself up to criticism. And the same thing goes for her. Lizzo is not new to this has been 3 years of her antics, so she knows what to expect. And I do feel like she likes to throw gas on the fire and see it go
She
up in
does.
flames and then cry victim.
That's exactly what my problem is. Like, you want to be the victim and the volunteer, and like I said, it's just certain things.
Mhm.
Baby, you ain't got to do this. And then if they talk about talent, let your talent speak for you.
Yeah. Yep.
Everything's got to be a damn scam, and everything is for attention, and it's starting to get a lot boring. Like,
Mhm.
all the stars you see, everybody's naked and having sex on the floor. Like,
Girl,
where you
like, I
going?
mean, leave some things that, behind the closed doors. Like, I can't. It's entirely too
I
much for
mean,
me.
think about damn near all the performances you have seen from these young stars.
Mhm.
Think about how Whitney used to put on a show,
Mhm.
and Whitney had those vocals, and when
Yes.
Whitney sang, Whitney brought down the house.
Seriously.
Like,
We don't that no longer exists. But I guess there are maybe some modest people. I'm assuming like her.
girl, them Afrocentric women tend to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
modest, but
yeah.
they ain't gonna get no play because
Listen, but I
yeah.
heard they freaks behind the door because that's what they said about Erica Badu too. So
I
yeah.
mean, y'all didn't know if child, once they go Erica, they don't come back.
Mhm.
Erica be doing something, child, and waist beads.
Listen,
Yeah,
listen.
you
Yeah,
got
but because
some.
I've heard men say that, like, there's a running joke about conscious women or Afrocentric women and how they are toxic.
Toxic as
And
shit.
yes, but anyways,
Mm,
um,
Uh, girl, we need to do a whole series about them because
we
they be
really do.
knowing.
Hmm,
They be knowing.
we really do. But anyways, are you ready to get off? I had another thing, but we can jump off into it. Ain't important. We can
Go
jump off
ahead.
into
I
the
really want to hear it.
Okay, let me pull it back up. Sorry. I have so much stuff in my phone. I know it was okay. So
Wait a minute. He think India Irie a freak.
really,
I
hmm.
can't see her with India, but that she might be the one though.
Ah, okay. So I know what it was. So I came across a post, and a woman was actually talking about how tiring it is to be a mom and how she misses the days when she didn't have to take care of anyone else. and she only had herself to worry about, and how exhausting it is, how unappreciated you feel by children, and how you don't get any credit for the work that you put in. And there were a myriad of comments, and this isn't a female group, a Black women's group, so most of the people were empathizing. But I want to
Mhm.
know, like, is it taboo? Do women have like a space where, well, mothers have a space where they can be open and honest about how motherhood is not always enjoyable and how exhausting it is? And is that something that society seems to take for granted because they feel as though women are born and bred to be nurturers, so as a result they don't give you a lot of credit as it relates to you having like a moment, having a moment or needing a moment where you just need a breather because you're expected to be nurturing, and it's supposed to be in your DNA.
I do think that we are supposed to be nurturing and the caregivers and stuff like that. I think, yeah, totally. Um, but everybody's going to have a bad day here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think everybody should have a space to complain. Men complain about day-to-day life, or like shit has to happen. Everybody has to get up and go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Um Shit needs to be done with your kids. You make sure your kids are clean, make sure they're eating good, make sure their grades are good, make sure you're nurturing them and having fun. Do your kids sometimes get on your fucking nerves? Yes, they're kids. That's what they're gonna do. Um does having a family and family life sometimes get on your nerve and you can't do any and everything you want to do? Yeah, you're a human being. Especially if you're a person that's used to being single. Yeah, you're gonna need time to yourself to regroup or whatever. I don't think everything is supposed to be perfect, but it's definitely very rewarding. When you do have a family, it's rewarding as shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I don't think life is all about sparkles and butterflies. I think everybody is subjected to sadness and loneliness
Mm-hmm.
and all kinds of shit. We all go through a lot. So I
I agree.
I, I don't know. I don't think it's a thing that they would have a sounding board. It's not
I
it doesn't
agree.
make me feel, yeah.
I agree with what you're saying. I think that though that's why it is important to have an act a person that the person that you choose to have a child with, ensuring that they're going to be an active participant in raising the child, because you need that balance. Like mom needs personal time, dad needs personal time. Like I see women who don't have a real support system and how they struggle, and how it's
Yeah.
literally going from work to picking up the kids. Like you're literally either working or you're parenting 24/7 with no break in between, and how sometimes they do get to the point where they're ready to explode because they don't have anybody to, especially when they have small children,
But you
kind of
know
take.
what too?
Mhm.
I've seen situations where the mom is like hell bent on keeping the father and the children separated. And I've seen those same moms complain how they don't have any free time, how they don't get to do this, that, and the third.
Oh yeah.
And I be sitting there and I'm like,
Hmm.
when
Listen, I've seen it too. Oftentimes they like, he ain't taking my kids over there because they know he has another woman, or they want to,
yeah.
yeah, I get that. I see situations like that too. We can't deny that that exists and that happens. But I do think, sometimes it gets tiring. Thankfully for me, I have a, huge support system, and that was never my, I didn't have, any concerns such as that. But it is, it's hard. No one is saying that it's an easy thing. I actually found saw something online where the CEO of Girls Who Code, her name is Reshma Sajani.
Hmm.
She was actually advocating for, and um, they had a what was it, a bill that they're trying to get passed in Congress for mothers to be paid for their labor. Like saying that motherhood is not free, that that the women should be paid for the fact that they are also working as a mom as well as working outside the home, so that they should receive monthly checks that is for the labor of mothering, parenting, of $2,400 a month that they were trying to get passed through Congress, which I thought was really, really interesting. And I saw people making some arguments that maybe more women would not be opting out of having children because there is some sort of benefit for the labor that they're putting in at the house. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts on
girl, that used to be called a husband.
that?
That's what that
Wait,
used to be
what?
called.
What you mean? What?
When a man and a woman get married and they have a child or children, and the man takes care of the child or the children, and the man is out there working and the woman was a housemaker, that's what that used to be called. And she would get paid a little allowance or whatever. She could do a little
Mhm.
shopping or whatever. At one point, that's what that was called. You want to lay down and have sex, and you have all these forms of birth control and this, that, and the third, and then you get the kids, and then you sitting there and you want somebody to, like, no, get paid for what? Yeah, man, that doubles your income automatically. There you go. You
Even
ain't gotta
for
worry
like
about
women who decide to just stay at home, I understand both sides of the argument. Someone said, isn't that like child support? No, it's not like child support, because child support is supposed to be for the children. It's literally payment for the work that you're putting in as mothers. And in addition to that, like, who's overseeing this work? Because what about these half ASS mamas who, ain't
right.
barely
You
doing
having
for the
kids,
kids?
and
But
baby, what they gonna
yeah.
put up to you to make sure you mothering?
Yeah, there are
Um,
both sides. I see the side of the fact that being a mother and being on call, being on 24/7 is very labor intensive. It's mentally exhausting and draining. You are literally, going from working a, 50, 60 hour plus job per week job, in addition to having to manage field trips and having to ensure that you go school shopping, you cooking dinner, you doing laundry, you changing diapers, you're vacuuming, you're washing dishes, you're the last to go to sleep at night because you're making sure that the kitchen is clean and that the house is clean, and going in, and when you have a few minutes you're picking up the kids' rooms, and you're giving the kids baths and bathing the children. It is exhausting. So I understand that aspect of it. And that's what I meant by both sides. But I think that Danny made a perfect argument by that was what it was. That's why you ensure that your children are born into a two-parent home where you have a husband or a partner, someone that can, one, balance it out, and also that would also be providing that the extra financial resources that are needed.
right, because honey,
How is that avoiding accountability? This isn't like, and this isn't even about single mothers. The woman who is advocating for this is about married women too. Married women who work inside the home, or married women who work outside the home, and married women who are stay-at-home mothers. This is strictly, you guys like to relegate it about Black single mothers. Like this, that's not what the bill is about. It's about women who are mothers, and it's also about, like, they were making an argument about the low birth rates and how women no longer feel that it is that see any value in becoming a mother, that you're putting in all this work and that it's a thankless job. So as a result, doing something like this may, give women a different take on becoming mothers.
child.
It's not being paid for being an adult, because you can be a single adult and be childless, which a lot of women are now saying, I don't want kids. I don't want to be responsible for anyone outside of myself. So,
Yeah, but if okay, I just don't understand offering an incentive outside of what the incentive is.
which
Like I
is,
said, motherhood is definitely rewarding. You actually have brought life into the world, a whole human being that you got to help mold and trust, and babies and people change your lives, especially ones that
mhm.
you raise. If you talking to your children are probably some of the funniest, sweetest people, loving people that you'll ever get to know, but and they're yours. Um, I think about like women who can't actually give birth to children, and so it's really sad because in certain ways they won't experience that certain love from a human being, that nobody's gonna love you like your child or your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh,
me, huh?
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying like nobody's gonna love you like your child will,
Mm-hmm.
and watching people that you help mold and watching your contribution to society and to human life, I think it's like one of the best fucking things ever. I think giving birth and actually being able to raise a child is probably like the most womanly thing you can do. And I know people may disagree with that, but to me, it's like one of the most womanly things that you can do with yourself. So I think having a
Yeah, but not
baby in itself
everybody
is
is moved
rewarding.
by that. Like everybody, not everyone sees the reward in the same way. And this is coming from someone who feels extremely rewarded by not only, having two children, but raising, phenomenal young women who are extremely talented and, to me, like the best thing on earth. So I understand that, but that's like one perspective. There are women who don't see it as this wonderful, grand, rewarding thing, and there is nothing wrong with that. But I do also think about, like, I feel like credence has to be given to the fact that being a mother is hard, and this all came about like during the pandemic, where women were not only doing all the things that I named, but literally working a work from home job while also being the school teacher to multiple young children that they were trying to also ensure that they stay engaged while schooling from home. Like, that is a difficult task, and just literally being on 24/7 is something like I don't, to me, this isn't applicable to me. My children are grown, but I
Yeah,
feel like I'm just talking about how labor intensive being a mom is. It
it
is.
really is. It really is. I'm not, girl. I'm not gonna sit here and lie.
And I do think that this is a feminist agenda. We can't ignore that. This is, oh, women need some sort of, special
But if you
benefit
got
for
a
being
man,
moms.
if you but the whole thing is, then at the same token, would you say that a man needs to be paid for doing stuff around the house and taking care of the cars and making sure the whatever's painted that needs to be painted, if certain things, if a fence needs to be repaired, he repairs the fence, he's washing cars, he's
I'm not making
helping
an
unload
argument for the
grocery.
benefit though. Like, I'm not my like I just pinpointed. My argument is simply just how labor intensive parenting can be.
Yeah,
Not
I think it's on both
not that
sides
they
though.
should receive a some sort of monetary benefit. I feel like if they receive, I feel like I have a problem with the fact that this is being branded as something for mothers as opposed to something for parents, because I
Yeah,
know men who are single fathers. Would they be able to take advantage of this benefit too? And or men who are the primary caregivers and have primary custody of their children most of the time, would they also receive that monthly stipend? So I think that parenting is hard. I have several problems with the plan that she's laying forth, and my primary one is that it's marketed as something specifically for mothers.
yeah, yeah. Because being that it is specifically for moms, it's like no. Everybody, if everybody's worth their salt within relationships or parenting, period, it's work. And Kerwin was a single father for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Baby, it's a lot of work involved in being a single parent, period. Like,
Oh yes,
woo, honey.
I already know. Like I said, I think that James Cole, what the hell are you talking about? I'm talking about out both sides of my face. How you going to be strong and independent in one breath and victimized by the so-called hardships of motherhood? I don't know what you're talking about. You've never heard me say that I'm strong and independent. So don't put words in my mouth, because that's not my mantra. I'm dependent on my partner. That's not my. That those aren't words that I've ever said, so I'm not sure where you're getting that from. It sounds like you're projecting, because that's not what I preach.
You don't hear men complaining about it,
Complaining
baby.
about
We in the
what?
manosphere. What you mean? We don't hear men complaining about it.
Complaining about what? I like this isn't me who came up with this. This is actually a CEO of Girls Who Code. Not only did she come up with it, there were a lot of famous actresses who are backing this plan and who are also calling for mothers to receive some sort of monthly stipend. From Eva Longoria to Gabrielle Union, Amy Schumer. Like these are women that are trying to get this bill before Congress in order to advocate for women receiving some sort of monthly income for being a mom.
I think that they are so disconnected with
Mm-hmm.
society in general.
The famous women who are advocating for it.
Yeah, I think they're hella disconnected.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it, because if you make a choice to get pregnant, then you are making a choice with whatever you have. When you make that choice to get pregnant, we have too much birth control, too much going on for you to get pregnant and not want to take care of a child, or for you not to be able to take care of a child.
But
But
in
yeah,
the in that same vein, like we need women to produce children in order to ensure that we keep the birth rate at a fair number. So we need women to
you know
produce.
what?
We can't make that applicable to everybody, but
Um,
I did point out those women. But there were men who also signed this. Steph Curry and the person who started Craigslist and Alexis Ohanian from Reddit, Serena Williams' husband. So there were also men who are getting
yeah, look who
behind.
they women is. Anyway,
Listen,
I just
to each their own.
it's hella they're hella disconnected. I think the men, they feminist.
And
Yeah.
this is not, y'all keep talking about single moms. These are married women. Like it's not about single moms. This is about women receiving payment for being moms. Single, married, divorced, separated, all of that. It's not about one sect. You guys are relegating it. I don't
You
know
get
if there's
paid
a
to have
disconnect with y'all comprehension. This is not about single moms.
listen, you get paid to have sex and reproduce, but
Man,
to
listen,
actually
I
take care of
may have
milk.
another one.
And then you know what's crazy? You brought up like continuing on the birth rate. I don't really
Uh-huh.
care. I don't care what
Yeah,
happens to
you may not
mom.
personally, but economists and people who have any idea of the how the economy works understands the importance of keeping the birth rate at we're already below, I guess, what would be considered the numbers that are adequate to survive, but there is an important it's important for us to keep the birth rate at a certain rate, and people who I guess do work in
It's weird because they
anything
talk,
relating to economy. They understand the importance of it.
but then if it was that important, then everything wouldn't be so automated, would it?
What you mean? Like what?
Like they're taking away a lot of jobs and replacing those jobs with robots and
Right.
stuff like that. So what's the difference?
You know what? I think the struggle is we live in a capitalistic society. If a person who owns a large corporation can make more money by hiring less people, they're going to do that, and they're not considering the impact to the economy. Where there are people who literally study the economy, care about the future of this planet. And as a result, they are the ones who would probably be more apt to make arguments for things that benefit the economy. But, capitalists, they don't give a damn. They like, man, I'm trying to make my money.
Okay. Well, shout out to RBR Network. He says women aren't masculine. It's a lie and false comparison to other races of women. The problem is stereotypes of blacks by the largest society. RB.
Hmm. Let's
Thank
get
you,
off into this
RBR.
topic. That's a perfect segue, RBR. We need to talk about it. Are modern women too masculine for marriage, child? Ooh. I think it would be good to start with you, Danny, because you are still a newlywed, and as you responded to DMAC's earlier point, I think women who are over 35 and marrying probably do give women, younger women, hope.
We do give younger women hope, but I do think that a lot of us are too masculine for marriage.
Oh.
You have to think about it, especially with an older woman. And I'll give myself as a prime example.
Mhm.
There are still certain traits that will come out of me, and I have to do a lot. Now, I'm not only gonna say that I self-check because I get checked.
Uh-oh.
Um, Colonel will check me at the line, and I'm not tripping about that. But I also have to self-check because I am used to doing everything on my own and doing
Mhm.
everything how I want it done.
Mm.
I used to do things without having to ask anybody for permission. I spent my money the way I wanted to.
Yeah.
Um, I shopped. Stayed out to whenever I wanted to stay out. I did exactly what it is that I wanted to do.
Mhm.
When you enter into a marriage, especially with a man who is a leader, your man isn't going to go for you running things on your own because there has to be one head, one tail. And I'm not saying that everything has to be ruled under an iron fist, but um there are going to be times where you're going to have to listen to the other party. You're going to have respect for the other party. You're going to have to put everybody above yourself. I think
Mhm.
it is a hard habit to break when you are used to doing everything on your own. And I think the older you get, the more masculine you become, especially as a single person. Because you are used to everything. You're not
Mhm.
worried about nobody carrying your shit for you. You're not worried about nobody
Mhm.
fixing anything for you. If you have problems in your house, you can call somebody for that. When you do get into a relationship, it becomes a power struggle because you're not used to being under somebody's leadership. And to me, leadership in itself to me is a masculine thing. But what are your thoughts?
I think overall, modern women for okay, I think that modern women would be deemed as too masculine for traditional men.
Mm,
Um, the thing is, to be completely honest, I think that a woman that's over 35 would be would be more apt to know how to take care of a man than and more willing to know how to take care of a man than a woman in her 20s. To be completely honest, when I see women in their 20s, you know, they are the ones that don't want to cook for a man, that don't want to learn how to cook, that are don't want to, you know, cater to a man. They're the ones that are challenging the status quo as it relates to marriage. Yes, women in their, you know, 30s and 40s are more headstrong. I think that they're more sure of themselves, but at the same time, I don't see them having the attitude that they don't want to cook for, cater to, take care of a man. They don't want to. You know, do the things that a wife traditionally has done. Whereas young women, like, I ain't cooking for no man. I ain't. He better, you know, we better hire somebody to do that, or we better eat out. Like, they're the ones that are pushing back against the status quo. But I think as a whole, when we just talk about modern women, I think that they are viewed as too masculine for marriage, too independent for marriage, too assertive for marriage, too you know, career focus for marriage. They don't want a family. A lot of them, a lot. I've seen women who say, "Well, I'm okay with marrying. I want to, you know, partner with somebody, but I want my man to myself. I don't want to share him with children." Like, I've heard women actually say that. So they don't have. They're not family minded. They are. A lot of them have a very feminist mindset, like the overwhelming majority of them. So I think that as a whole, yes, they would be deemed as too masculine for marriage.
hmm. It's interesting that you were talking about the older women
Mm-hmm.
wanting to don't not really minding doing the things that are considered traditional. I think nowadays I'm running into a lot of women who are older who actually do have problems with the traditional thing. Um like fixing a plate. Oh my god.
See, I see young women talking about that. I don't know, like, and I'm talking about even on social media and, just being in interaction with women who are 40 plus. Like, they are, and most of the women that I interact with, I have to say, they have very Southern roots or they live and have always lived in the South. They don't like trip over stuff like that. Yes, they're like saying, I don't want to go 50-50 on the bills, but like they cook Sunday dinner, they cook regularly, they cook big meals and that type of stuff. I more at, and maybe it's because the younger crowd is being influenced by the older crowd, but for the most part, I don't see as many older women having those complaints as I do younger women. Not to say that I don't see older women complaining about that at all and saying they won't at all, but most of the older women that I see say, yeah, I'm gonna fix this plate. That's natural.
Honey,
But you're saying the opposite.
I would say not necessarily the opposite, but it's kind of been even. I think the feminism
Mm,
is the same on both sides.
okay.
Initially, I wouldn't want to think that the older women would be as feminist as younger women, but I'm starting to see it be even killed to where the feminism
Okay.
is rampant all around. Women want to be women and they want to be ladies and shit when it's convenient, but then when it comes down to submitting to a man, then it's like, no, what I look like. I work
Now,
just
I'm
like
not
you.
saying that that they're not that they don't have a feminist mindset. I'm specifically strictly talking about the cooking and the domestic part of things. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Oh, I see the feminist mindset. I absolutely say that. I wouldn't deny that ever. I'm just strictly talking about the domestic side of the argument.
Okay. Okay. Shout out to Mr. Curlin. He says the answer is yes, some are, especially with how this society is set up. If a chick has money, she can outsource a lot of what a man provides. That feeds into the mentality we see until it falls. Thank you so much, babe. I think that is absolutely true. I think that's true. Shout out to RBR Network again. He says, okay, we're not using a strict definition of masculine. We're using a leave it to beaver model and not an
Oh.
African centered one, which is better. RB.
Why you gotta read his super chat like that? This is what I'm not about to do. Is deal with you.
That's my
I do.
RBR voice. Did I get it? A little
Um, I think though, okay, so Hood Conservative says no such thing as a domesticated feminist. I think
I
that
think
like
that's
they were
absolutely incorrect.
yeah, I think that I agree too. Because I think that they were raised to like cook and clean and things of that nature. They're older. Most of the women that I'm talking about have children, so they've had to cook and clean for their children. Many of them have been married or have been in some long-term relationship. So I think that they are domestic, and that's just a part of who they are. They're domestic people. They do the cooking and cleaning. That's become like ingrained in who they are, and maybe they came from that. But
You
they
make it
still
sound
like,
like a person can't cook and clean and be a hoe at the same. What is?
well, yeah, that a good point. But also, they will still have an attitude that a man ain't about to tell me what to do. I ain't
Right.
submitting to no man. Yeah, they'll still,
What
they
do
gonna
you
cook and
think the
clean because that's who
meaning
they
of
are.
a matriarch?
Right, right.
I thought he was. Child. Bye, David. Shout
Ain't
out to
nobody buying
Gabe
that.
A for the super sticker. What's up, Gabe?
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Child.
I
Girl,
wanted
you
to
ready
know.
to drop this link for David
No,
because you know he ready to fight.
hold on before we do that, really quick. Dang. Um, I wanted to know, so we talk about are modern women too masculine for marriage, but I want to know, have the roles just changed? Like when we're looking at the younger generation, when we're looking at, like late millennial or early millennials and stuff. Well, I guess it would be early millennials. When we're looking at like, have the roles changed? Has it,
What?
because we're talking about, are they
Yes.
too
Yes.
or modern women too masculine for marriage?
Listen.
Is it,
Listen.
has it changed where the traditional, what we see as the traditional roles of what people would be doing in a marriage, is, has that gone out the window? Has marriage been redefined, and as a result, does that mean that this conversation is only applicable to a certain demographic?
Okay, let me break some of it down.
Okay.
I think the roles have changed drastically. Now you have women being more aggressive in trying to talk to men and dealing with men and making sex extra transactional. Like, I don't want anything from you. You don't want anything from me. Let's just wham bam, get it over with. I'll holler at you, whatever. There's no courting going on. So I don't even necessarily think there's an incentive nowadays. Like, everybody's just kind of doing what they want to do. Um, Women aren't really carrying themselves like ladies, quote unquote. So the women are turning into the hunters, because
Mm,
now the stakes are a little bit higher since the men aren't getting married at the same rate that they used to, not until you get older. So I think that it's changed with the younger generation for sure. Like, it's over with the younger generation.
mm,
I'm curious to see how this all plays out to where when everybody gets older and the men turn into the women. I think that the men are more feminine nowadays, and
mm,
it's not a shot. I think that's how the roles have flipped. Um, Women are doing everything for themselves, so it's a less need to be dependent upon a man. And so when you don't have to depend upon and you feel like you're equal, um, to a certain degree, you actually reduce the man's role to a certain degree. You're not making him work for anything. You're not making him rise to any occasion. You're not
mm,
requiring anything from him anymore. You're requiring him just to be. And I think that does tear down a bit of societal norms. So I do think it's and it if it's flipped now, give it about a good 10 years. We ain't seen
mm,
shit. So
mm.
that's where I'm at with it.
Okay.
Let me read these super chats. Shout out to Black Wizard. He says, I think modern women will find it difficult raising a family. Family is about sacrifice, and I don't know if they want to sacrifice anything for anybody. They
Mm.
consider everything settling and put their goals above
Ooh.
everything.
Black Wizard, say that
Yes.
you summarize the attitude of many modern day women. They don't want to sacrifice. They feel like my life is supposed to be about me. I don't want to have to care for anyone else outside of me. I don't want to have to cook, clean, do anything aside from just existing. And, that is kind of the attitude that they have, right, wrong, or indifferent. And yeah, you summarized that very well.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you, Black Wizard. Shout out to the RX0. He says, greetings, ladies. Common courtesy has become an issue as well. For example, I only hold the door for women that I consider my elders due to them being respectful and
Mm,
appreciating the favor.
mm,
I think women shoot themselves in the fucking foot with some of the ridiculousness they the for the lack of common courtesy that they display. I love when a person holds the door for me, but if I see
mm,
somebody coming behind me, period, man or woman, I'm going to hold the door so the door won't shut in their face. That's just the type of person I am.
mhm,
When a man holds a door for you, like I said, women want to be equal when it's convenient. When they got to get out there and work on them goddamn chain gangs, this, that, and the third, we'll be screaming and crying for where the men and where the real men at.
mm.
Um, I think we really shoot ourselves in the foot when we are dismissive or rude when men do things for us. I think we really shoot ourselves in the foot
I
because
agree.
that
Less
stuff is
men,
gonna
more
be
men are going to be less apt to do those things.
right.
My fiance no longer holds the door for women because
Wow.
he's been met with some very snide comments after holding the door open. So yeah,
Are you
I
serious?
mhm, yeah. So yeah, he kind of, I mean, if like a woman is, he always, gets the door for me. So if there's someone immediately behind me, he's not going to let it slam in their face, but he's not going to go out of his way to open the door for women anymore.
Wow.
Good servant, David. You really gonna let somebody struggle with their bags in public and not open the door or help them? Wow.
But you know what though? If you
Listen,
got women that's saying that they're scared or they're frightened or
yeah.
they're this, that, and the third, and then you have men who, if a man does anything, if he's watching you struggle, you don't want him to say nothing to you, but then you don't want to be struggling. Like, then I'm thinking
Mhm.
about the women. Let's say you don't have AAA and you get hurt on the side of the road or something,
Yeah.
or you don't want anybody help. Like all that
The
shit is
thing is, you already know there's been a long running belief that that people don't pull over for black women who are stranded on the side of the road. That's
really,
yes. Oh yeah, I've heard about that since I was younger. That you better equip your daughters because men don't pull over and help black women who are stranded alongside of the road. Yep.
wow. I actually had that happen. Somebody ran me off the road, but it was like two white guys came pull me out of a ditch.
Wow.
And I think the man had just lost his baby or something. It was like it was a crazy day. I was coming back from Atlanta, and somebody ran me off the side of the road and kept going, weren't paying attention,
Wow.
and I ended up in a ditch, and it didn't take a long time either. Like they saw the whole thing. So
You
yeah.
know, I've been on the side of the road. Like I had a flat tire one time, and I was at the exit for my job. And in Atlanta, they have like you can call 511 during traffic hours. Like if
Mhm.
you're blocking traffic, if you call like in the city, you can call 511 if something happens with your car, and they'll send the hero truck. But the hero truck was busy, and by the time they became unbusy, well, first off, I called my AAA, but they couldn't do it because there's now some law that they can't change. Like it was on the side that was facing the road. It was my tire that was on the side that was facing the road, and they can no longer do. They can no longer change your tire like on the side of the road if it's the tire facing the side of the road because of dangers with possibly potentially getting hit by a car. So I had to call Hero, and then by the time I called Hero back, they said we don't. It's no longer rush hour, so we can't come help you. So literally, I waited there for like an hour and probably like close to 2 hours, and my fiance just had to come. He was coming from a long way, but he had to come and help me. But nobody stopped and said, "Hey, can I help you?" Hey, like no one stopped to help me. So yeah, I do think there's possibly some truth in that.
Mm. Well, I live in the South and have
Mhm.
had several men pull over and make sure I was okay while waiting for AAA. Never had that problem, black and white men alike. Gwendolyn,
Yeah.
I'm pretty much there too. I never really had that problem. Like
Yeah,
people do
and
what
it's not 100%. I mean, of course, there will be exceptions or people who haven't experienced that. I haven't really been stuck on the side of the road a lot to even, for to know that that was a thing. My daughter recently had something go wrong with her car, and she was like in the city, and her car was stuck, and AAA said that it was going to be a 2 hour wait. So she's young. She had like three people stop and say, "Hey, can I help you?" And other people were pulling up like, "Hey, you need some help."
Yeah.
So yeah,
Uh,
she didn't. That wasn't her experience.
Yep. Shout out to the RX0. He says, not only that, modern women are clueless and are so clueless and arrogant to the point that they're unable to give a simple, decent thank you. I think
That's dreadful.
that's so true. And so why would a man want to help you?
Yeah.
Um, do you have anything else or
No,
anything?
let's go ahead and open it up. I had one other thing, but open it up and I will. We can discuss it as you drop the link.
You know what's funny? I ain't gonna
Hmm.
tell you because I don't want you laughing at me. I'll
Let me
tell
know
you
what
behind the scenes though.
I want to know. So when we talk about modern women being too masculine for marriage, do you think that modern women find any value in marriage? Do you think that, because I was just listening to you earlier talk about when your initial response to the question, when we opened it up and you answered the question, are modern women too masculine for marriage? And you were giving examples about your own relationship. And I thought about women, young women probably would not see a benefit, like not see a benefit, not see value in that. Like you talked about, you talked about a lot of compromises, about having to have discussions and permission. You use the word permission. I don't think
Mhm.
that most modern women, young women, would be attracted to being in engaging in a relationship that requires them to have ask for permission for certain things, not have 100% control to spend that to spend a bag on Gucci or vacations or this and that, and that they would not find that as something that would be alluring to them. Just listening to you talk about the changes that you've had to make and adjust to as it relates to marriage.
Um, it's like when you get married or when you enter into a relationship, you are going to have to make some sacrifices. I don't necessarily think that modern women would be attracted to making a whole lot of sacrifices because
Mm.
I don't think that a lot of people talk about the true ins and outs of marriage. Um, Most relationships have their ups and downs. Some relationships you can have communication issues,
Mhm.
money issues, um, all kinds of issues go on in relationships. Some of that shit is taxing. Some of it is. Asking for permission to do stuff, which is probably one of the biggest things because women don't want to feel like they're subservient or like a slave or something like that
Or
to
a
their
child.
man or a
Permission, baby,
child.
permission. And I said that with my soldier boy face. Like,
No,
permission.
but if you're
What?
maintaining a household and you are cognizant about the money, and I'm not just blowing the money on stupid shit, and I'm not even gonna say that buying a bag is something stupid because everybody deserves a little
Frivolous
reward
things.
time.
Frivolous things, that's not
Yeah,
important. Yeah, I get you.
right. But if y'all have a certain type of income and y'all are running a household, you're not going to be able, unless you have the money now, unless y'all have the income, you're not going to be able to go out and buy a Gucci bag or a Louis Vuitton at will. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Or if you want to go out and do happy hour with your friends every day, but you got kids and you got a husband and you have to worry about the women are supposed to be generally are supposed to be responsible for the nutrition of the family and shit,
Hmm.
then you're not certain things that you're not going to be able to do without planning and making sure everything is okay. Maybe you don't necessarily have to ask for permission, quote unquote. But you would probably have to have a discussion. There probably has to be some agreement met before things take place. But that's the ins and out of a relationship. You're not
Right.
going to be able to do exactly what you want to do when you want to. It doesn't work
Hmm.
like that. And you have to be willing to sacrifice that aspect of your life, to me, if you want a successful relationship. And I don't, I
Yeah.
would pretty much say that would be on both sides, because everybody has to take everybody into consideration. So
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that there are different relationship dynamics, and I do think that for some reason I feel like young guys, are holding on to, like, they desire something more closely resembles traditional relationships, whereas young women don't. But I think that there are, like, I don't have to necessarily ask for permission, but there are things that I run by, like my fiance, like, and I do, like, when I go out, I have to pre-plan, and I don't have to, but I pre-plan, and I'm like, okay, babe, well, I did meal prep for you. You got a couple different meals to select from. I did that earlier in the week, or I'll, like, cook dinner before I go out, and oftentimes I'll still bring him something.
right.
I let him know, like, if there's a change in my schedule, because he's used to me having a certain schedule. Hey, babe, this Friday I'm going out with the girls, or I'm going to brunch, or, like I let him know, like, giving him updates on my schedule, anything that is outside of the norm. If there's big purchases to be made, like we have that discussion. Like there are some
Right.
changes that I wanted to make to the house. Like I can't just be like, oh, let me call this contractor and have him over here. No, we got to discuss it as a team. And, ultimately he has the final say. So, yeah.
Shout out to Black Wizard. He says, I've also noticed modern women don't really apologize unless you do it first. Yeah, I think let me
Mm,
let y'all in on a little secret. Y'all ready?
mm-hmm.
Lean your head in, Concrete.
I'm listening.
Don't apologize until you're on your deathbed.
Listen, I'm going to respond to that. I want to say something about that. But Aaron, I did double down on the I don't have to, because you're right. I don't have to, but I choose to, because I choose to submit to a qualified man who is leading me. I enjoy letting him know and keeping the harmony in our home by letting him know what's going on with me. Like it's a part of it's something that I enjoy doing. I'm making a conscious decision to. None of us have to do anything. We're choosing to. We're fully functioning adults who are choosing to engage in the ways in which we do. And I choose to make sure that my partner is aware of where I am at all times. I call him and I check in. If I'm leaving a place and it's dark, I will talk to him and like, oh, okay, babe, I'm getting on the highway. Be on the lookout for me. Those are choices that I'm making because I like to ensure that, I have a harmony in my home, and that's part of my desire for security, him knowing where I am. I also play a part in ensuring that's the most important aspect of any relationship for me is feeling secure. But I have a role in ensuring that I'm secure as well. And part of that role is checking in with him, making sure he's aware of my schedule. I literally have a dry erase board with my schedule etched out on it in our room, so he can look at it. If he forgot that I had something to do and maybe I got up earlier than him, he can look over at the board and see where I'm at. So yeah, those are things I choose to do. But as it relates to Black Wizard with the apology, I'm always the first to apologize. I don't hold grudges though. I literally, within 30 seconds of having a disagreement, I will apologize. I don't care though. Like I have no ego when it comes to my relationship. That goes out the window. Babe, I'm sorry. I was dead ass wrong. You right. I was wrong. Before the disagreement is even over, I apologize because I just don't care. Like it's not I'm not too ashamed to say I was wrong.
Is my Sagittarius brother in the room?
Girl, y'all don't apologize. Y'all don't know what an apology look like.
Because I was going to sit over
Apology.
here and tell him that you're only apologizing to get out of the bullshit. You ain't apologizing because you mean.
Listen,
Girl, don't do this
that's how he be
line.
looking. That's such a Sagittarius thing to
Girl.
say, because he will look upside my head just like that. Like, yeah, right. No, but he'll accept my apology. But y'all are very like,
Skeptical.
yes, ooh, yes, skeptical. That's the perfect word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. KP from KC, yeah, right.
KP from KC, if you a Sagittarius, you apologize. We apologize for the same reasons Geminis do. That's how I'm able to call it out.
I don't know. I ain't heard an apology from a Sagittarius.
Yeah, if
And you
you
the
do.
closest female Sagittarius to me, and he's definitely the closest male. And I don't know if y'all know what an apology is.
Concrete ain't never apologized. Oh,
Listen.
don't get your ass. Oh.
but anyways,
Uh-huh.
so
Let me
what
read
were
this
they
from
talking about?
Renee real quick. Let me read this from Renee. Renee says, so
Mm-hmm.
women gotta work 40 hours a week, and be responsible for the nutrition of the family.
Oh, see,
Yeah, he
Renee.
gotta work 40, 80 hours a week and be responsible for them goddamn bills. Sis, what's up?
Renee said women deserve that stipend that they advocating for. If
Renee,
I got to be
you ain't
responsible
getting
for the
nothing,
nutrition.
sis. Sis, you gonna get the same thing everybody else get. Y'all gonna go down to Florida once a year.
Oh, I was
Um,
about to say, you used to sit here saying, what was it, hard D and bubblegum? Is
that
that what
part,
everybody
child, I
else
thought
do?
about it. I was like, I ain't gonna go. Uh,
Oh
but
boy.
to be honest, okay, so here's how you do that. Before
Mm-hmm.
you get off into a relationship, something serious, you discuss those kinds of matters.
Hmm.
Prior to me and Curlin getting married, I think like while we were in relationship form, like it was like, well, if we got married, how often would you cook? And I'm like, what would be an acceptable number?
Right.
So I think about 8 times out the week. Some going on that stove, baby. Some getting cooked by me. The
Eight
rest of
times. Oh, you talking about other meals too,
yeah,
like
girl.
breakfast, lunch, dinner. Okay.
Yeah. So me and Curlin work from home.
Hmm.
Generally, we don't eat a lot of breakfast, but we do definitely eat lunch. Um, so I'll make lunch and I cook dinner. We get a cheat day during the week, and weekend we'll cook or we might not cook. It just depends on
Hmm.
how we feel. This weekend I cooked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Most weekends, we do our little date night, whatever,
Hmm.
like we chill. But during the week, because if you eat out a lot, it's not very nourishing. And it's not as good especially when I cook, baby, because I can throw down in the kitchen.
Whatever.
So
But you know
again, I
what?
like cooking. So
I actually do too. I enjoy cooking. I remember you was like, I don't know, 5 days a week because I cook dinner, like dinner. I'll
now I
cook
couldn't do
5 days a
five
week.
concrete. I couldn't do 5 days.
But
No, baby.
what, like Sunday, you have to cook. Like I have to cook a big Sunday dinner. I cook, got my glazed lamb chops marinating now, so I have to cook a good, nice, hearty Sunday dinner. But I also meal prep on Mondays because, like, I notice, like, my fiance will go to the gym and he's not getting enough nourishment, and I'm like, babe, you ain't eat. I don't eat breakfast, so I
Hmm.
don't cook breakfast. He usually will cook his own breakfast because I don't eat breakfast. I cooked him breakfast this morning, but that's not something I do. Maybe once or twice out of the week, I might cook him breakfast. But I will, like, for lunch, I've meal prepped so he can grab a meal, and I meal prep enough for lunch. And if he, wants something later, he can also have, something later. But I do cook dinner like 5 nights out the week.
Listen, how they gonna dog Renee? Renee, look at KP from Tasty Fry.
You're
Renee,
wrong.
grab a dog then. You can't make this up. Shit, Renee said
Wow.
if she ain't got the cook and she ain't got to ask nobody to do shit, that's what
Listen.
Renee gonna do. Nah.
And
No,
then KP
you
from
ain't gonna
Casey
do
talking about he cut the grass every week after working 60 hours or more, but you cutting the grass once, whereas the woman is
it.
cooking a
Right.
meal multiple
You ain't
times a
washing the
week.
damn car every
So,
day. Yeah.
and listen, I that too, but I don't. My we don't have to get our grass can go like a week and a half. It ain't even like a weekly thing. But I've never had to cut the grass, and that's a benefit too. Because if you otherwise you'll be paying somebody
Listen,
50
it's
sixty
certain
dollars.
equipment I don't even know how to turn on, let alone
Me either.
operate it. Child,
I
what?
told him, I'm like, I'm gonna have you teach me in case, I ever have to cut the grass myself. And he like, man, please, you like you can't even get it out the shed. So I'll just let him do his thing as it relates to that. But it's other things that also, like I remember I needed a new battery in my car. Like we had some plumbing issues that I didn't even notice that we had a leak, and he heard it. We was gonna call someone, but we had someone out maybe a few weeks before, and they told us it was $400 to replace something, a little valve on our hot water heater, which is still fairly new. And he went out and got it. It was $40, and he put it on there. But we was like, okay, if that
Right.
was $400, this leak and it's under the house, it's going to be massive. He went down and like there are benefits that there are things that men do that like can't be quantified. There's like intangible benefits that we get from our partners that we don't realize. Like as women, we talk about what we do on a daily basis, those things to
Oh,
keep the
girl, the
home
pick me
up
is
or
real
cooking.
today.
But
Shit.
but men put in work too, and that can't be denied. And as my fiance, he's really like he lets me have the run of the house pretty much for the most part. Like if I want to do something, change something up, he's like, go for it. And little projects and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, I want the to change the color of the fireplace. Like he is constantly doing things to ensure that that I'm satisfied with the home. So they
Right.
put in work too, and we got to give them credit for that.
Exactly. And I don't think women do a lot, but men also do a lot. And if
Oh
especially
yeah,
if they're
I'll never
able
deny that.
men that are able to repair and fix stuff and
Girl, yeah, handy, yes. And
read a
those who aren't
manual.
though, they paying for it out of pocket.
Right.
My
Right.
ex was not handy, but like he would quick and be like, okay, find somebody to do it. I'll pay for it. Like they may have to pay for it out of pocket if they're not extremely handy, but that's an additional expense that they're paying.
Right. Right. So yeah, well, concrete.
Y'all ain't want to come up and chat with us. All that smack y'all was talking in the chat, but didn't want to come up and challenge the notion of modern women being too masculine.
You know what, girl? Let's
Mhm.
keep up some shit. Modern
Yeah.
men aren't masculine enough for marriage. What's up? All y'all want to do is lay up, call 6 holes a week, eat McDonald's, trying to figure out where your next meal come from, penis itching. I don't know what the hell you're
Listen,
look, Black Wizard was the first one.
You know you're wrong. You know you're wrong.
Yeah, you wrong for that.
Wow. Is that true, Black Wizard? Is that true about y'all?
What'd you say?
No, she said this about modern men. I'm asking, is that the truth? Is she being
look here.
I don't know.
He said not me, but I don't know about the rest of them fools.
Y'all are crazy. Yeah, I wanted to I wanted to highlight, I guess, the I'm still gonna highlight the modern women angle of it because it's the topic of the show. I'm just gonna ignore that last 2 minutes that you went on. So
y'all are killing me.
But yeah, I think what's really interesting about, I don't know, I guess about who we're calling modern women is like, yeah, I guess I'll just elaborate in the super chat, like the I guess they seem so like driven to get what it is they want. They don't really seem to have the desire to make any sacrifices that would be necessary in order to have a family. And I would say like a lot, like even the few that kind of like have a child without getting the marriage part, it's like they're driven by a biological urge to do that. But once the urge is out of the way, the child just kind of becomes an accessory to their life that they're kind of like throw off into daycare or school or wherever, while they continue to go about their own kind of goals.
That's a good point, Black Wizard. I do have to say that a lot of women who I do see, bearing children, it is kind of like they have like a little cute accessory, like they'll for photo ops and things that's like convenient. And yeah, they still trying to find ways to live their best lives. And I don't know if parenting is their number one priority.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this too. It's like yeah, like, well, one thing that my father said was that kids don't dress like kids anymore, and I found that really interesting. It's like most of the time you look on Instagram or whatever, they look like little adults, and he's like, what's up with that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
y'all sexualizing the kids. They don't look like adults. Y'all just sexualizing them. Ugh, sorry. Because I find that to be, I hate when I see little girls just like grown ass women, and grown ass women say that, and it's like, okay, but
not just little girls though. Like, think about like the little boys,
looking
like
they got their little tux or they got their little bow tie, and they I don't know, they're not dressed like, they don't got like the graphic tees and the stuff that when I was a kid was the main thing the kids wore, like some cartoon on your t-shirt or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, they dress like grown people, and I don't know, I thought that was interesting.
That's so true. So true. Well, let's get Hood Servative up in here. Hood Servative, what are your thoughts?
Hey, what's going on, ladies? Thanks for having me up again today.
No problem.
I was thinking about.
Don't come up here with no mess.
Concrete.
I never do.
The name of the game. You will not get triggered by Hood Servative.
Listen, okay? I will not. I refuse.
I don't even be trying to trigger y'all. I just say things that are rude, that are real but uncomfortable.
You had it right at first.
The truth came out
rude.
That was a Freudian slip.
It was, right? No, listen. The thing is, I was reminded of this little clip I watched years ago. It was a really old clip though. It was from Christopher Hitchens. This is like this British writer, and he was talking about his preferences for women, and it was a female interviewer too. And he asked he said something about he prefer his women not to work at all. And he said, "Yeah, I understand. Like, I'm not going to absolutely forbid it, but I can pay for you to live. You can live with me just fine." And what he said, his reasoning for that was that the mere fact of you being a part of the labor force masculinizes you as a woman. And I think there's a lot of truth in that. And we're kind of so far down the rabbit hole now, we can't even see where we began. And I think so many women are just born and bred to be single women, a part of the workforce first, and then a mother and even a wife second and third. And that's a huge problem. So later on in life, you both kind of mentioned this, in your own ways about how young women will be the ones who don't want to cook and clean, and by the time the women are 35 and up, they're all for all that shit. And that's the problem in a nutshell. That's basic, like, red pill philosophy right there. Like, it is a really interesting and bad problem that young women are unwilling to commit until they're too old to even get in the game again. And you're seeing it play out like that. So it is going to be it's going to be a growing problem for women, this whole being too masculine for marriage. Like, even if you wanted to marry, who's teaching young women how to be wives and mothers right now? Like, where's the finishing school? Where's the etiquette school? All these things are considered feminist and outdated now, to teach a woman the actual practicality of getting along with a man, learning to fold and let him take the lead when you just feel like you're right. He may actually be right, but you feel like you're right and you don't want to stop. Like, women have to teach each other to not be like that. And if men do it, we're the bad guys, we're mean, we're, oppressive and all that stuff. So I question, like, are women even teaching women to be feminine anymore? Because this
Yeah,
masculinity isn't coming from
but
men.
when you tell a woman to get a man that makes more money than her,
That's
when you
always the way, though.
no, no, not always.
That's the
Isn't
traditional
that
role. What do you mean?
eliminating a lot of men from the pool? Like, because a lot, we have men. What is the average man makes? What, 40 something $1,000?
Yeah.
You, yeah, but you don't have to pursue the career. That's a
Yeah, but
choice.
this is the thing though, hood conservative. It's easier to say, okay, a man is going to take care of you, your relationship is going to be perfect. If you focus on being a wife as opposed to being a career woman, generally after you've been married and you didn't do any of those things with your life, it's usually kind of hard to pick yourself back up after the fact, after you get divorced and you don't have any skills. A lot of women don't want to be left out in the cold, because if a relationship happens to dissolve and you don't have anything to fall back on, it's probably one of the most naked feelings, not being able to depend on anybody but yourself. Then it really does become in survival mode, and you don't want to be to where you can't pick yourself back up and um, produce for yourself or live a good life. So I
I
think a lot of women think about it in those terms.
I understand that fear, and I'm not going to belittle it. It's a real fear, and I can understand being in that position. However, given the fact that women are the ones who end relationships more often than not, I don't care.
Okay. Oh, I thought he had dropped down. I was like, damn.
I did too. I was about to say, well, damn, he really dropped the mic, didn't he?
I
Drop
was
the
like,
mic.
damn. Okay.
But real shit, like life gets hard sometimes, and we can't go out bending national policies or changing, eons worth of traditions because every now and then they crap out in life. We can't do that. We can feel bad. We can help from a personal level, but I mean, are we going to change the laws because this one woman had to get a job after being married for 50 years? Well, no, I'm sorry, we just can't.
But the whole thing is everybody acts like the job just benefits the woman, and that's also not the case either. They're educated and still getting left out in the cold. So what are you talking about? You get being educated and left out in the cold, at least you do have an education when you're left out in the cold that you may be able to do something with that education. Most jobs require some type of bachelor's degree. You may not actually have to have a bachelor's degree in that same field, but most jobs require a bachelor's degree, and it's not like you're going to be making hundreds of thousands of dollars with a bachelor's. So
That's actually kind of a misnomer. Like going in, like at this current time, most jobs are actually removing that requirement, and a
okay,
lot of jobs require like
skill set.
certifications.
Okay,
Yeah, like if
yeah,
you get which is a trade, like literally less than 6 months. A lot. I mean, from Google, Facebook, especially jobs in tech, in the tech industry, you can get a certification in a fraction of the time that you would get a degree. So that traditionally, you're right. That has
okay,
most
yeah,
decent paying jobs require a degree, but things
right,
are changing to where now a lot of different employment sectors are just requiring certifications.
okay. Shout out to Renee. She says y'all are acting like most black men are able to be the sole or even primary breadwinners. These
Oh,
men need these women's income.
Hold
Renee,
on. I'm sorry. Hold up. Hey, Sister George. Hey, Concrete. Renee, bring your
hey,
miserable ass
Cassius.
in this chat
Ooh,
oh,
Cassius,
oh
what?
because
my
you know what?
goodness.
It's today. You know what I'm saying? This the conversation. It's
Cassius
Oh,
today.
World.
Renee, he
If
said
you want her to come
Cassius.
up
Bring
here and
your
have the
Ring
conversation,
the
she's not
bell.
going
Here
to
we
do it
go.
if you're
bring.
speaking to her like that. So
Oh
what I
no,
will do
she likes to be
is
antagonized. You ain't seen the chat.
Oh,
Renee,
y'all
you're
rough.
welcome to join the panel and have the discussion with us live if you want. But I want to
I'll
hear
be
the
nice.
men's take on Renee's comment. Do most men need a woman's income? Because I've heard the opposite, that even when women work outside the home, that it's not very beneficial to the family.
I
I
need
think that is a crock of shit. If you sitting here telling me that, okay, if homegirl around making around $10,000 a year, yeah, that's probably not going to be super duper beneficial. It still does have some benefit because she is still working. She is still bringing in a sort of income. Maybe you ain't got to eat the potted meat. Maybe you could actually have real chicken on the table tonight. Um,
There's
when
something else
sis is
being unsaid
bringing
she
here.
can work for
in,
me.
let
How
me
about
finish
that?
my point. But
Oh,
if she's bringing in $30,000, 30 to 40,000, 50,000, $60,000, I think that is a significant boost. Marriage is the quickest way to increase your wealth. So it is a benefit to a woman working, and you that is able to help provide a better lifestyle. So, yeah.
Can I point out the mindset though? And she's kind of talking. She's framing it in the opposite of reality. Yes, I think you can say there are a lot of men who are after women with more money per se, so they can live off the woman. Like you can get a better life if your woman makes a lot more money than you, right? Maybe that's true. However, I think it also must be said if you're a woman, and I don't even know if there's a magic number of income level, but if you're a woman and your comfort at a certain level, whatever your income is, you can pay for your life now. At what point does it occur to you that you really don't want some nigga coming in here with all this money and all this attitude telling you how to run your shit? Maybe you rather
That's
him be
it.
just a little broke. Just a little broke. Not totally
That's a
broke,
good
but
point.
like you can't fuck with me though.
I think so, David. You got a good point. That's kind of what I was trying to highlight to Danny. Even as if we talk about, Gen Z and the modern woman and their, being career focused, and they feel like I already have, I can already fund my lifestyle. What is the benefit of me getting with someone who makes more than me, but that's going to tell me how to spend my money and where I can and can't go? Like most women don't want to sign up for that, but I do think that they probably would be more apt to get someone that has less money than them that is not necessarily running things.
Right. Right.
Which is a masculine approach. You're dating a man. You're dating a man as if you were the man looking for a woman who's going to fit into your plans.
Good point.
So I think that what and I'm more calm now. I was just joking, really, because Renee ain't gonna come here. I think that what's going on now is that, or what's always been the case, is that it's not fun being a woman, right? Like you're like life is miserable. Like you have cycles, like you know what I'm saying? You don't get to do like it's fun being a man, right? Like it's fun doing dude stuff.
Mhm.
And women have seen that, and now that they're making money, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna do dude stuff. Like we're not doing woman stuff no more. We are interested in that." And unfortunately, it comes to a head around 35 or 40 when it's like, wow, it's not always fun being a dude. Like I actually want a family now. I want peace in my home. I want, I got 4 different dudes that I'm dealing with, and it's chaotic. Like when you're a man and you got 3 or 4 girlfriends across town, that's not fun. Like it's a chaotic life. And we learned that early on, in high school, college, whatever. And so, some of us get smarter and some of us, decide to settle down. But for women, it's like there's that logic isn't there. So it's just fun, fun, fun. And then you hit that wall and and it's not fun anymore. And so whether you're making 30K or 60K as a woman, you're still going to want to be in that family. And so you're going to have to find a man who's either going to be a simp, you know what I'm saying? Just, oh, well, whatever you say, babe, that's what it is. Or you're going to have to follow that man's lead. And a lot of women just don't have that in them right now. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be a global reset, like everybody keeps saying. And it's not going to be men on the bottom. That's what I think.
To be completely honest, I think that I don't know. I think that most women find that they have a lot of advantages as women. Like society backs women. There are laws created constantly that are in favor of women. I think that most women enjoy their lives. They enjoy being able to weaponize their femininity. They enjoy being able to manipulate situations. Like most women are happy being women.
You think that's a power thing?
Yeah, I think women are manipulative in general. I think that and I do think that it comes from, they feel as though they're in a position of power, that they can use their femininity to get things that they desire, and that is powerful. And oftentimes you kind of are getting over on someone who doesn't seem to realize that you're getting over on them. So being a woman is lit.
Well, I think that's why these conversations hold so much weight, because being a woman is lit until you're 40 and alone. And you're sitting there in your lit house, in your lit car, in your lit king size bed, career. Right, with your lit 65, 80K a year career, no kids,
drinking
no
wine
husband.
out of an Olivia Pope glass.
Right, you got 2 dogs, you got a boy and a girl dog, and they got a good relationship, but you can't seem to figure it out. So yeah, it's lit.
Damn, he came for y'all next today.
Listen, they got that
not real stuff.
But he has a point. Now that's the one thing that you're not manipulating your way into a valuable relationship. So yeah, Gaston, I don't have a comeback for that.
Why do you think that all these so-called married women you were naming pushing, the government essentially being a full-time husband and father for these women now? Because someone is looking at their friends saying they're going to need some help.
Again, Renee is in the comments. I don't know her relationship status, so I won't come for that. But 165K, that's nice. But if you're alone, you're still alone. And so 165,000 times a year, you can wipe your tears with being alone, but you're still going to be alone. And then next year, you'll do it again. And it's like, one day, you won't be able to work anymore. You'll have to retire. Whatever 401k you have, that's what you'll have. But I say about 75, you get sick. And you have to spend all of it, and nobody will be there for you. You'll die alone. That's how it goes. I saw it happen just yesterday. Don't do that. I'm sad because it's like my aunts are out here dying by themselves. They got kids that don't have fathers. My cousins are older than me. They don't know who their dads are. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit's crazy, man. Like, I'm really tired of it. And so yeah, I came with that shit today because this shit's crazy, man. Like, this shit is really wild out here. Like, folks are not taking care of themselves. Folks are not taking care of their family. And then you want to do this shit by yourself. You want to, I can go to the club. I can do this. I can do that. You're 30 fucking years old. Get your ass at home. Like, you got kids at home.
35 was the age to sit down.
No, when
30,
you have
that's
kids,
young. 30.
look, you got
Right.
2 kids. That adds 3 years to your age. You need to be putting your ass down.
When y'all be coming up with this stuff?
I feel that's the whole thing, right? Oh, you a 7 or an 8, but you got kids, you a 6 now. So that's what we're saying. You might be bad, you might be the finest thing walking, but if you got 3 kids by 3 different niggas, you not that anymore.
Okay.
So
you can still be bad with. Never mind.
Yeah, you could probably lay down and have another kid, but like I said, if you at home with them kids by yourself, one day them kids gonna be grown, they're gonna be gone, and you're gonna get old. And we back at it again. You're gonna get old. Whatever job, whatever money, niggas giving you money for no reason, that's gonna stop. And then what?
Yeah.
What is the real value? I've been wondering this question. I think we're all gonna have to do this, like the country, not just Black America, but we have to ask this question and have a serious, long, uncomfortable conversation. What is the real value of having all these women going to all these jobs and getting all this education? Like, really, really, what is it getting us?
Well, it's helping. It is beneficial for a capitalistic society because women are the biggest consumers. They're spending more as it relates to, I don't know who else it benefits aside from the individual and, the capitalistic society in which we live.
Not necessarily. It's beneficial for capitalistic corporations. It's not necessarily beneficial for capitalistic society. Society is different from the corporations. Like, we're not getting all the money and wealth out of this deal.
So the thing is, like, the thing is, women's value in less than 200 years ago was the same as a horse to a man, right? And so what happened was they wanted to be equal to the man in value to society. And then women said, that's not good enough. We want more. They had to bite the apple. They was like, we gonna keep going and keep getting more education, keep getting more benefits, whatever we can get, we'll take it. What from the government, from a bunch of men out here, whatever, we want it all. And now that you've gotten it, and now that society is molding to that new dynamic, they don't like it. It's like, wait, we don't like this shit. Like, wait, what is this? We want men to walk up to us. We want this. We want. That's not what you bargained for. So,
Dude,
like I said, there's gonna be a mass reset, and everything's gonna go back to. I'm talking about sticks and stones. It's gonna be rough out here, and I mean,
although a woman's sexual market value declines significantly when she's into her late 30s and early 40s, I think that a lot of women feel as though that's when they can settle down. You see, Eve married in her late 30s, and now she's having a baby. Like, you're seeing more and more women having babies later in life. And I think that women feel as though, at least, I can live my best life until I'm ready to settle down. And then at that point in time, I'll look for a partner and someone serious and prepare to settle down.
Can I ask the guys a question? And it's the chat room too, because I'm curious. This is like a quick poll. Because you just said something. A woman's value was equivalent to a horse back in those days, right? So right now in modern America, guys, if you had the money, would you rather buy a horse or get married?
Wow.
I would buy the fucking horse.
Unfortunately, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I don't see the value in the horse.
A woman.
Wait a minute.
Anything you give to her.
Wait. Hold on.
You got game if you can get chicks on horseback. Like, I think I'm gonna get a horse and see how this life works.
You never mind, because I was about to go there.
I wanted to hear what you
don't go there, Danny.
No, because
come on, Sister George. No, bring out that Sister George.
The thing is, if you have never had a good woman, and so you don't realize the value and the worth of that, then I really, really, honestly do feel sorry for you. If you're saying that you would actually get a horse over getting married, A
That's a
horse
good
isn't
point,
gonna
though.
sit there and stroke you and rub you and play. Well, maybe I don't know what
Not
you
only
want.
that, women
Horses
increase the
can't
Um,
value of
talk.
anything you give them. Like women
Horses
are the
cannot
ones who
talk.
make a house into a home. Women are like, late night you're talking about your business deal. They're advising you. Women will increase the value. A good woman will
Right.
increase the value of
Horses don't
anything they
talk
give.
though. That's
Oh my
more
God.
valuable
if
than
you if
everything you
you if
just
you
said.
sitting up there
Whatever.
saying that you don't want a woman simply because she talks, then
Because she
baby, I
nags.
I I, I
She
don't really
nags.
know who you talking
She
to.
nags.
Baby, let me read these damn super chats. Shout out to Snuggle668 up in this thing. She says, "Do you think your people were socialized not to understand each other and understand a different people? Why conversations like this are hard to have?" I do think that we were socialized in a certain way. I think the feministic uh whatevers are we've been indoctrinated into all of that. I don't necessarily think these conversations are hard to have though. Like, I come to the mental sphere and have these wonderful conversations every day.
I
So
don't know if she's talking
yeah.
about us in particular. I thought she was talking about like, Black people in general.
Oh.
In that case, I would
Oh.
say, yeah, we have been socialized and conditioned. We've been socialized in a certain way that impacts our ability to have meaningful conversation.
Yeah, I think so. Shout out to Karan Pookie Williams. 3/4 of Black women can't crack $50,000, but every Black woman on YouTube earns 100K. And Renee, stop at 5. He said, "Wouldn't be on YouTube complaining if you made 100K. Get your lion
Really, really.
600-pound 25K at Burger King self out of here."
Karan, how you gonna assault that woman's character like that? Like you
Right.
assassinating
Come
her
on.
character, making all these assumptions about her. You need to
I
quit,
can't
Lord.
stand
Renee
Karan,
must be
baby.
down there antagonizing the heck out of this.
Renee is a fucking terrorist up in this chat, baby.
Listen,
Listen.
clearly, and she keep going. I ain't mad. All right, we got to get Mr. KP in here and get his thoughts on the topic.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing today?
What's
Hey,
good?
KP.
What's up? What's up, y'all? Well, listening, I always say, we watch television a lot growing up. 80s Cosby Show, you had Claire Huxtable. She had family, and she was a professional. Her and her husband, and that gave a template to a lot of young ladies at that time of I can have that and have that as well, but some way it diverted where they didn't want to become the family Claire Huxtable. They decided they wanted to be like that show with Mary Jane, Mary Jane types. They were like, I'd rather be the corporate lady, have my own condo, live in a big city, you know, and worry about the children thing later down the line, you know. And I wonder where did that occur? That happened in the 90s because a lot of women, Black women, were going to college then. That was when college was becoming the norm for Black folks, as far as going to, we normally went to HBCUs, but then going to predominantly white schools as well. And you having that vision of seeing I can make it, but then saying on my own, not saying I'm looking for my husband here or whatever avenue you went, military, whatever, looking for someone to team up and build. Like someone said earlier, your greatest path to wealth is if you have a good profession, they have a good profession, and if y'all come to a good understanding, hey, look, we can do something together. We can do something together. It's not this competition thing, because I see this in my area where, like, if I have a neighbor across the street from me, she's a single Black young lady, uh, and she jokes with me sometimes about, yeah, I'm having issues finding me, she's talking about I'm dealing with all these Jodies. I said, well, maybe if you turn it down a little bit, you might get you a cliff, but using that example, then another example is like the thing with so and so's daughter that plays Joan, on Girlfriends, Joan Clayton, and then when she played the character on Blackish, she's Rainbow Johnson. So you got to ask yourself, you could be Joan, where she was single, successful, professional, lawyer, but had nobody home, coming home to the dog or the wine glass, And then on Blackish, she had the family. You know, it's a case of which, and in real life, you see, she says she doesn't need no man, but really, you know, she wants to be Rainbow. Her name, can somebody come? Her real name, I keep forgetting, but it's a case where you got to let your pride go with the idea of someone telling you you're being submissive. It's something about someone hearing that and feeling as though they're a slave. You're not being a slave. That's the greatest form of discipline. I was in the United States military. Discipline shows a character strength of you not doing what you want to do by desire, but doing what you need to by necessity. And in a relationship, marriage, to keep it strong together, that's a necessity, you know, predicament. It's not a desire predicament where you're like, I don't feel like it. I don't, because if that's the case, then you should be single. You should, be in the street, so to speak. You should not look at it from a selfish mindset. And the masculine woman, and there's some feminine men as well, have this mentality of which, what's good for me? If a man's looking at a woman who has her bag and saying, I'm gonna marry her because she's got a six-figure job and he doesn't want to do nothing with himself, that's not a real man. That's a child. And she's gonna treat him as a child because she's gonna look at him as less than. Now, the man has to have his own purpose, his own method of provide for himself to show that he has value. And that doesn't just mean about his pocketbook. It means if something's broken in the house, he can fix it. Or giving her information about certain things, dealing with her money. My ex, I love her to death. She's in the medical field. She'll be a doctor. I mean, she's a resident now. I give her advice about what she should do with her money when it comes to, mutual funds and stuff like that. She doesn't know that. And I'm not going to be stereotypical saying that's a man thing, but that's something I like to keep my mind to. That's what marriage is about. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. So it's just a lot of folks have to look at it being submissive on a man's side and a woman's side. It's not a weakness. It's discipline. It's discipline. A child acts out of order. An adult knows how to retain themselves, So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Mr. KP. I agree that there are benefits that I think there are benefits that men contribute to the relationship that women don't count or don't give them credit for. But I do also think that there's a lack of credit being given for women today, and I think that a lot of it is just men being disingenuous and kind of being just dismissive because men and women are at odds today. But I think that there's a lack of credit being given on both sides. However, traditionally, women have received credit for the roles that they play and what they contribute to the family and the home, whereas I've rarely seen men being given credit for their contribution. TAB says you cannot fearmonger women with dying alone when everyone dies alone, and having a husband doesn't secure a caregiver. How many men do any of you know that care for their wives until death versus women? Well, women live longer than men, first off, so there's that. But I don't think that should be the sole reason. I mean, who doesn't want companionship from someone that you love? Who doesn't? There is a value in having a partner and someone to grow old with when a lot of this superficial stuff that we're caught up in today no longer matters. Like when you don't care about having a Gucci bag or having your hair done or, having your nails done, when all of that stuff goes by the wayside and it doesn't matter to you, it doesn't hold value like it once did. There's something to be said about having someone that's right there by your side that still loves you and looks at you in the same way that they once did, that still thinks that you're, the most beautiful person on earth. So, I don't even know if you could put it into words, but thank you so much for the comment anyhow. We got to get Aaron EBM in here and get his take on the topic. What's good, Aaron? What you got?
Hey, good morning. Can you hear me?
We can. Good morning.
Oh my God.
Well, afternoon from here, but
Yeah, you're right. Afternoon. I just got my heart rate down from talking to Renee, man. So you have to excuse me.
Renee got y'all.
Renee, stop doing that.
This this whole modern woman situation, this whole modern woman deal is getting out of hand. You know what I'm saying? It is. I'll say it like this. My wife, which I've been with for 12 years, when I couldn't work, going through these struggles as a black man in this country that we all go through from sometimes and from now and again, she worked when I couldn't work, and I always told her that when I got to a point to where I could work, she would never have to want. And when I got to that point in my life, she no longer had to want. She no longer had to work if she did not want to work. And that's what a lot of these modern women are missing. They come in with the attitude of a woman that doesn't need anything, doesn't need help, and doesn't value the things that men can give. Like Mr. KP said, they don't value the fact that I can change a water heater, which I did when I first got into the home that we bought. The water heater shot, I went and got another water heater, installed it myself. Now they don't. Now a lot of these modern women do not accept or care about these things until the water heater breaks in the house and they're alone. And that's what we're talking about. Now all of a sudden that you appreciate the contractor that you call to put in the water heater, but you don't really appreciate these things in a man, whether they're black or white. When you get them, a lot of this stuff is mistreated. A lot of it is just overlooked, and that's what a lot of these modern women get to, and it boils my blood. It's like she didn't understand that the fact that the thing she was saying was masculine. You know what I'm saying? And it's not the fact that men don't agree with whatever you say. We're not supposed to agree with anything or everything that we all say on these panels. That's not the thing. We're not supposed to agree, but it's the way you approach the man. It's the way that, well, I make more money than half the brothers in the society, so why should I have to cook and clean? It's not about that. It's about respect. I cook and clean also, and I'm the breadwinner. When my wife doesn't feel like cooking, I come in and cook, for the kids. This house and this home is a part of me as well. And that's what modern women have to realize. That's the submissiveness that we talk about. That is the compromise. And until these women realize that it's not all about money and waving your money and beating your chest against a man, we're going to forever be in these continuous circles. And that's what I got to
Aaron,
say.
you have some good points. I've often said that my fiance is a better cook than I am, number one. And in addition to him being a better cook, like if I don't feel like cooking, he's like, babe, don't cook. Like I put more pressure on myself than he ever has. In addition to that, I saw something that was very funny. It was a meme and it said women riding around here thinking they're a bad bee and they haven't had an oil change in 8 months. Like there are things that like we as women neglect or don't even realize, like, cleaning the gutters. Like, who knows that you got, like, I didn't know that you have to also go outside, like for our dryer, you have to like clean the where the lint comes out from the dryer. There are so many small things that we as women don't pay attention to, that we don't even realize our man got it and takes care of it. And as a result, we never think about the maintenance of certain things. But you definitely had some solid points. I think a relationship is about providing that balance. Not even like I have a traditional role in my home, but I'm not the only one who does cooking and cleaning. My fiance absolutely does cooking and cleaning as well. I do it on the day-to-day, and he's better at it than I am. So like, a relationship should be about give and take and, being there to fill in the gaps. If someone is having a rough day or doesn't feel like doing something, being able to say, hey, babe, I know you usually do this, but I got it. Sit down and take a load off.
Absolutely. Who was next? Because we got some
Rooftop Groku.
Oh, hi. I don't think I've ever been on this panel. My name's Celine.
Hi, Celine.
Hello. So the question is, are modern women too masculine to marry? Right? Was that like the main? I don't think it's about being too masculine. I think it's more about being too promiscuous to marry. I think, a lot of times I believe, sex was made for marriage. And I think the reason why so many women, they're so out of order today, in general, is because they've gone outside of marriage. And, a person who's you know, kind of more worthy of marriage is somebody who tries their best to preserve themselves, you know, and stuff like that. So, uh, you know, that's just kind of my perspective.
I do think that a lot of the problem is the promiscuousness, but
Absolutely.
the problem of also a problem, it's like men want women to have to give up easy or to have they want to have easy access to women. Um
I'm sorry.
okay. I think a lot of men want to have easy access to women. A lot of men won't turn down sex. And in most cases, a lot of men aren't turning down sex if they can get it. I think that men can be a bit hypocritical in
Mhm.
saying that they want a virtuous woman in one breath, but then they want a throat goat in another. I think it could be a bit hypocritical because they say they don't like hoes, this, that, and the third, but they'll still do a whole lot to continue along with the behavior or to co-sign hoes. So I think a lot of men talk out of both sides of their ass as it pertains to it. Like
Mhm.
they'll say that they won't marry a hoe, but they'll sure go purchase one. So
And they promote going overseas and, like getting with these women who are into prostitution. So,
Well, the promiscuity is okay as long as it's just for me. That's the issue.
Right.
So you say like, yeah, we want a hoe, we want my hoe. I don't want the hoe that the whole block done had. You feel me? So y'all are absolutely right. Promiscuity with a bunch of men is the issue. Because that's masculine. Like you don't supposed to have 15 partners at 25, young lady. Like,
Mhm.
what's up with that? Like, you know what I'm
You ever
saying?
you ever heard of
Absolutely.
you ever heard of the spoon and the Jello cup analogy?
I've never heard of that.
You
Can
take a
you
spoon,
use your imagination?
take a regular spoon, right? And you have 5 Jello cups. You take
Mhm.
that same spoon, dig into the orange one, the green one, the red one, the blue one. Wipe the spoon off, it's still the same. Them 5 Jello cups or 4 Jello cups ain't. That's why there's a difference between men's sexuality and women's sexuality. You know,
Actually, I
if you go
don't
back to the
think that's
days, you talk
true.
about the grandmothers. You talk about the
I
grandmothers.
don't think that's true. I don't think that's true.
What
Well,
do you mean?
Because
But
the
but
As you
but the
grandmothers
get
whole
told
thing. Let
earlier.
me just say this:
Uh-huh.
sexuality. A lot of sex ruins it on both sides. Y'all
right,
talk
all
about
those
this
soul
key,
ties.
right? Y'all talk about this key and lock analogy, but your mindset is different after you've encountered a bunch of women. Whether you think you see women more clearly or whatever, your mindset is different after a bunch of women. Grogu, can you mute up real quick?
yeah, I'm
I think
sorry.
you got a little background. Okay. Women's mindset are definitely different after a lot of sexual partners, but you dipping your stick into whatever, and you're not thinking that you've changed, but you've also contributed to the same behavior that you don't want, especially as it pertains to
Hmm.
y'all use
I,
people, but y'all don't think about the effects of what that usage is like, or the effects of that, and how she treats men, how she responds to men later on down the line.
and that's
So
why I'm an advocate now. I tell a lot of young guys, if you're dealing with a young lady and she's the type where she puts her the box, so to speak, on a pedestal, and you just want to use it as a toy, be the bigger man, leave it alone. Deal with a
yeah,
young
but
lady.
most men aren't going to leave it alone because it's morally right or it's morally sound or anything like that. Guys want to have sex, and they want to have sex with as many women as they can have sex with.
Because it's
If you
innately within us. That's the reason
y-
why it's
y- uh,
innately within us. It's
so
innately within us.
so there's no such thing as dick discipline.
No, that's a term. It's funny you bring. I wish hood. I'd be the hood right now. The dick discipline term and the fuck boy stuff. That was nice psychological tricks and all that stuff. Look, the only time a dude has a dirty D is when he deals with the girl that's been around the block. But it's something about. Let me put it like this: being virtuous for a woman is her badge. A woman starts out with a score of 100. A man starts out with a score of 0. He has to build himself up. A woman, when she's out there not being virtuous, she only takes points off of her 100. That's why they say a man doesn't really care about a woman having a 6-figure job. We really don't. It's nice if she has a decent career, but if I'm making good money, and I'm in the IT field, if I'm making good money, I can support the house. I can just want to be able to walk with you somewhere public and not see 8 or 9 guys from your past saying, "Yeah, I've been with her, I've been with her." But
That's
then
why
I'd
you
say,
move to another state and you
Yeah.
ain't got to worry
exactly.
about
Well,
that.
that's why I always say,
But
guys,
men who are disciplined are valued too. Like, not having discipline leaves you open to so many different issues. Like, if you don't have discipline, that means that you're not going to have the proper discernment, and you're leaving yourself open to be a casualty, a victim of all types of things. Like, it is a beautiful thing to come across a man who has discernment and discipline, not meaning that you won't engage with multiple women, but that you can't that a person can, like, let's say someone who has a ulterior motive can be in front of you butthole naked, and you can surpass that, because, or you can move past her and not be swayed by the fact that you have this tail right in front of you, because you're a disciplined man. You should be able to walk away from something that's not good for you, and that requires you to be disciplined.
I get the principal argument. I understand it. But the truth of the matter is this, and it's been shown and spoken about. 2 out of the 10 men will sleep with 8 out of the 10 women, because they choose those 2 guys and not the other 6 or 8 guys out of the 10. Meaning that they're chosen. It's not a case of them having to run up on every woman. There are women throwing themselves at guys saying, "I want him, I want him." But he has a past. I know, but I want him. I just do. And you think a man, you talk about the dick discipline, yeah, he should decline it. Now he'll say, "I'm the higher desired man," as it is in nature. They chose me. They want to lay with me and possibly procreate. That's just the way it is. A lot of guys get mad about that fact. They throw rocks at guys, "You a hoe," and all that. As a man, if a woman chooses you, meaning she feels comfortable and secure to lay down with you, and then whatever the outcome comes, whether it's a child, then it's on you as a man if you can stick by her, be with her, or you can be like, "Hey, baby girl, you know who I am. You know my reputation. You know me."
Wait a minute.
Like the future types. A lot of
Wait a
guys.
minute. KP, wait a minute. I did want to get Celine back in here because I think she has to get ready to go. Or excuse me, Grogu. What are your thoughts, Grogu?
Oh, well, I totally agree with you, because I know I've struggled, because as someone, it's hard to date, because I really don't want to, be thrown. I'm just not that type of person,
Are you into black men?
I'm really attracted to any race of men, as long as their personality is fun and stuff.
Girl, it's plenty here that will date you. How old are you, Celine? Girl, we could do for a show called For the Love of Celine, honey. There's so many men. They are looking for a good white woman, honey, and especially a virginal one. Honey, you have the pick of the litter here.
I'm 21.
She's saving herself to marriage. And you 21?
She can
Oh,
get
yeah,
married.
she's the right
Yeah,
age.
honey.
Yeah, I think it's hard, because a lot of times, it's like men create whores. You can't have a whore without a whoremonger. You see?
Exactly, girl.
You can't. And a lot of times, I don't know if you guys grew up in like church or whatever, but a lot of times they kind of have this idea of the boys will be boys thing, but the female has to be. But both have to be disciplined. Both have to have that respect for themselves. And, it's like a lot of times it's like very unclear of, because I'm just like, well, I don't know if I really want to do this, until I get married or whatever. Like, I'm scared, you know what I mean? It's a scary thing, you know what I mean? And I think it should be a scary thing to just, go to bed with whoever, whenever, wherever. Especially as a woman.
Well, I mean, if you're in the church, right?
No, I'm not. I don't know. I'm not really, there's not really any good churches in my area, so.
Oh, okay.
Like,
'cause
I'm
I
very
was gonna
specific.
say.
I'm very specific. Like, I believe in, like, the KJV, King James, so, you know, a lot of times it's very specific, you know, as long as like the foundational stuff is right.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like, you know, even if like they're just like, oh, well, this girl wants to wait, but then they leave her, you know what I mean? And it's like hard.
Yeah, I've heard even men who say that they want a virtuous woman, and they say that like during the dating stage, like if it's a woman who is a virgin, or she's abstaining for whatever reason, like they'll openly admit that they are doing things with other women while dating her.
Right.
He don't
They
want to
not
give it
even
up.
willing to wait on you, girl. Then what?
Right. And exactly. And a lot of times you see, like I hear a lot of men, they say, oh, well, you know, God said to men to spread their seed. No, he didn't. He said to be monogamous and marry for men and women, because women respond to that strong leadership in men.
That's interesting, because even, Big Truck always talking about those virtuous women. I don't know where he done disappeared to. And he said, he wanted a woman that was virtuous, and he found a woman that was a virgin. However, he didn't wait until marriage. So, you want a woman that's virtuous, but you want her to give of herself to you before you actually marry her.
It's
right. And it leaves a lot of women confused, I think, of what, you know what I mean? Because I think a lot of times, like, you think you're not as valuable if, you don't have men approaching you. You know what I mean? But it's because you want to abstain from it, the best you can.
See, if you had a BBL, girl, they be coming in.
Oh, well, I go to the gym to work on myself, and I see guys kind of winking at me.
She don't need one. She a white woman, 21, baby. They come.
Oh yeah.
But thank you, Celine, for joining us. That was
yeah, I'm grateful to join. I kind of listen in on the panels, and it's really interesting. But I have to go back to work. But everybody have a great day. So I got to get back to work.
You too, Celine. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you, dear.
Have a good one.
Thank you, Celine.
George.
Yes.
As I spoke about a couple weeks ago, I dated a virgin. When I met her, she was 30. And all my coworkers, my homeboys, like, man, she ain't no damn virgin. She's just using that as bait. But she was, and it was tough for me to deal with it. We dated. It was a case of me trying to put my past of, because I ain't gonna say I was a choir boy.
Did you feel like a simp for waiting for her?
Yeah, and that's my point, Steve.
Why though?
What the young lady was saying right there is the reason why men can't do the same thing. And it's not even about the outward opinions and stuff like that. Say, for example, she waited on me. Well, I mean, she waited on me for me to wait on her. But then to find out she might met a guy at the gym with some guy at the ice cream shop, and they got it in at the back seat of at the parking lot.
You mean she let him take her virginity in the back seat of a park? Okay.
I'm saying it's a psychology for men that women choose on who they lay down with, to which it's not a, it's an instant attraction when they see the guy they really want to lay down with.
Okay, so you're saying that do you feel like most women can hold themselves when they are really attracted to a man? You don't think most women can hold themselves?
It's a case where you're talking about the dick discipline, and y'all gotta have pee discipline, I guess.
Yeah, I'm saying like majority of women I know don't have to screw every man that they find attractive.
But they cross those legs real tight and bite the bottom of their lip.
Like, what? Because okay, but then do y'all give any credence to being a human being? Like when you enter into a relationship, I don't expect that my man goes blind because he's with me. I think he's going to be attracted to other people because other people are attractive. I think other people are going to be attracted to me because I'm an attractive person. I don't think a person goes blind, but then that's where the discipline comes in. You don't have to screw everybody that you think is attractive. But then half the time, if you listen to half these niggas talk, they've been to talk themselves. Child, please. It's not
like this. It's like for most men, it's a case where if you ever played soccer, it's hard to score a goal in soccer compared to shooting a basketball, right? So for women, sex is like a basketball. They choose on when they want to score. For us, we look at it like a soccer goal. You could be Ronaldo and score 100 goals a year, but you still appreciate the opportunity when it presents itself. When a woman approaches you, and I'm saying you being single, not being married, not being in a relationship. I'm saying you as a single man and free to yourself to do whatever you want, have 100 body count. So when that opportunity comes, a woman approaches you, gives you the signal that she's willing, you look at it like, okay, I can score a goal right here. You know, you're like, I can score a goal versus you saying, because a man working out on his purpose, got a good, decent job, career, got his finances in order. That's just the bait. It's still the interaction with a woman to which she gives you that signal. She's like, yeah, we can do this. And he'd be like, all right. Because especially the Me Too movement, we cannot try to press on you and have that, put ourselves in that predicament of having an allegation put against us, for one. So we're going to leave it to you in so many ways to give us that signal on, come and get it. You know?
Child, no, y'all
yeah.
don't. Y'all still be out here hunting and coercing and child put. Shout
Very
out to
true.
the
But
RX0. He
yeah.
says, but Sister George, you have men such as myself that have never been in the dating world and still virgins to this day. And modern women consider us less of a man. Explain that. I'll wait, laughing my ass off. The RX0, those are heathenist women that you should stay away from. Those are the city
he
girls
can
that
find
come
women
on
in the church who will find it respectable that
exactly.
he's saving
As long
himself.
as you are a virtuous man that has a six-pack and you make over $100,000, you will never be short of a woman. All you gotta do is get your money up. That's it.
Yeah, and your body right.
Yeah, get your money
But
up and your body right.
also shouts out to
Man,
Kid
look,
Clouds for the Cash App too. Thank you, brother, for the support. You know, we always appreciate you. We do have someone on the panel that hasn't had an opportunity to speak after we get through the super chats.
Okay.
Black Wizard says, this what do I need you for? This what do I need you for mentality is just a smoke screen to me. I think some women are afraid of men. Some Black women on YouTube are afraid Black men will ruin their life. I think they believe Black men are dangerous and they choose to be single. I do think that there are some women that are very guarded and that they are apprehensive to date because of all the horror stories that are out there. I'm guarded myself. Like but
let me ask you a question. I don't think women think about men necessarily dating other women while we're dating, so to speak. I think you'll because this is to this comment, TAB. They say men develop distrusting psychosis of women because of their own indiscretions. If we go out to eat and you happen to take a thing home, take a doggy bag home or something, I am the last thing I'm worried about is you feeding another woman with the doggy bag or you doing something else with the woman after we leave the date. But I've seen like most men are worried that if they waiting on a woman, that the woman is gonna do something with somebody else. And then I'm like, if you're courting a woman the right way and you're really having conversations with her as opposed to trying to get in her pants, this, that, and the third, then you could actually develop relationships. But a lot of y'all be too vagina focused.
I think it's mistrust on both sides, though. It's not just, it's like you pointed out that the men too, I think that there's mistrust on both sides. Like I keep seeing people say that there's pee and poop in the dating pool. Like it's just both sides men are thinking that the woman is trying to take advantage and have them and spend up all their money. Whereas women are like, the men are going to play games. Like it's not necessarily that he may be seeing someone else, but like, don't waste my time and ghost me. But we have to get VA Jen in here and give her an opportunity to chime in on the topic. Thank you so much for your patience. What do you have to add to the topic?
Hello, I just want to say hello to the panel and everyone else in the chat. This is actually one of my first times calling in on any panel, so I've been enjoying the conversation.
Welcome.
Yay.
Myself being born in the early 80s, I think I am a modern woman, or what most in these platforms would consider a modern woman by default. Just because I was raised to be very independent. from my parents, and specifically so my father. And we have these conversations in regards to the modern or independent woman, because I wanted to know what was in his mindset to choose intentionally to raise me in this way. One of the things that he did mention was he mentioned about the mindset of men from the 80s going into the 90s. And they just weren't, I don't think were displaying the typical responsible young men that was in the past of kind of like the baby boomer era, right? And so I don't think he had a high thought of marriage being necessarily a possibility just because how the dating scene was going. So one of the things he did push very heavily was education. Education, so I can be able to provide for myself, and be able to take care of myself, not only financially, but so I can have the education and the wits to maneuver in this world. And one of the things he drilled in me is I had 2 strikes against me already. I was Black and a female. And so that's interesting to me to hear current men who are actually younger than my father have a different idea or have a kind of a negative connotation to modern woman, that does have to equate to being combative and not wanting to listen. I'm always willing to listen. I don't always agree, but I am always willing to listen. And for you to kind of change my paradigm or shift some of that thinking, it does have to logically make sense. Like I'm smart, right? I have an analytical mind. Don't dismiss that piece. And so I don't know. It does confuse me, right? That a lot of men would see a modern woman per se. And I'm not talking about the ratchet stuff. I'm just saying, as far as being educated and assertive and outspoken, those things as a negative versus being a supplemental to a partnership.
Thank you. I think Danny previously, like some time ago, pointed out the same. We kind of did a show on that, how there are a lot of, well, your initial part of the point that you were making, there are a lot of men who caution their daughters against, men out here and kind of tell them, hey, you have to, be independent, or you have to go out and get your degree so that you can provide for yourself, because of kind of how the behaviors that they see being displayed by other Black men. So I think Danny talked extensively about that, and we ended up doing a show about that at one point. But thank you for your contribution. Very solid points.
I gotta say the thing about the guys quality is because most of them came from single parent households raised by mothers. And when you come
that's interesting.
Think about it now. A lot of the guys that were brought up in the 80s, because the mother, I hate saying mama, make it sound like a derogatory term, but the mother unfortunately made a bad decision. The guy she was impregnated by, he left, he was ghost. He didn't want to be there because, whatever reason might have been, he was young, teenagers, whatever. So now she has to raise the boy, if it's a son, and he doesn't understand discipline and responsibility. So more times than not, like she said about her father, he saw it from a distance and said, yeah, he's not like the baby boomer generation. People got to remember back then.
Hold on, let me get the Mr. KP. We understand the point, because we've heard that argument being made in this circle, where essentially it relates back to the Black woman. It's the Black woman's fault. I understand where you're going with that.
There's the benefit of when you have children in a 2-parent household where they witness of the father building, therefore the son or daughter as well know what they want and see when they're going out in the relationship field. And her father witnessed a lot of young men probably did not display that because they didn't have that template to know how to do that same thing. And that's why he gave her that advice to seek for herself, build for herself.
Well, Let me read the super chat really quick, and then I will give her an opportunity to respond, and then we'll start final comments. D-Mac, the trucker, says, the RX, please don't listen to C-Rose. The biggest 304s are in church, unless you want a so-called Christian woman with 5 kids talking about she praying for a good man by any means. By all means, listen to her. Oh, listen. I was joking when I said
what it was C-Rose and Sister George. That's why he
Why
put
you had to throw me off your
304.
head? Forgot about me.
No, he said the
Damn,
biggest
that's how you gonna
304s
keep
with an
that.
S.
listen, she like when I'm thrown under the bus by myself, baby. But
Because I was mad about
See, we got to just throw Gaston's ass off the panel for that. No, I'm kidding.
don't do Gaston's.
So
I was like, damn.
out of here.
What were you saying, Gaston's? And then we gotta get the young lady back in too. But go ahead. What were you saying? Because I know you was talking some mess.
Facts.
Well, no, it's just that I think that we all need to start, like I guess this my thing every week. We need to open these lines of communication and really come to some sort of agreement. And quite frankly, we're not the ones that need to come to the table. We're at the table. And until, I guess, I don't know, we're gonna age out these Black women who aren't cooperating. They're gonna age out, and they won't be in the market anymore.
I don't think that that's the solution, because younger women are worse. Gen Z is worse. They are literally from jump pushing back on the status quo of anything that resembles tradition. That's not going to remedy the problem.
So when you say they're worse, like they're pushing back. So, okay, like one, I don't think that they'll marry each other, right? Like, I don't think that,
they got the roles. A lot of them are more willing to enter into these alphabet relationships. They're saying, where the white men at? They are traveling and getting their needs met on their travel excursions. I don't think they are less likely to settle than any prior generation. I am telling you, Gen Z, this is, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah. Sad to watch. But I think that all in all, what's going to happen is that there is going to be a global reset. I know that for sure. Yeah. And that, because I mean, any society that's functioning on the wills of women will fail, right? Because women's wills change every day. So today they want this and tomorrow they want that. So as long as their wills keep shifting, so will society, and eventually it will crumble, and then there will be a reset. And so, yeah, it's taken however many years the feminist movement. I don't remember with Susan B. Anthony, but I want to say like 150, something like that. But eventually, it'll all come to a head, and at that time, we'll see where all the chips land. I think Black men are gonna be on top, but we ain't gonna talk about it. You'll see what happens. But
okay.
But thanks for having me.
Oh, and, you popping out?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say my last little bit. Thanks for having me. As always, it's a great conversation. You guys know how to stir the pot, and I always appreciate that. So I'll come back every time. Thank you,
Gaston. We appreciate your support, brother. I'm sorry, VA Jen. I know you wanted to respond to Mr. KP, so sorry we kind of segued. But if you do remember what you wanted to respond to him about, we can let you go ahead and get an opportunity to do your response now.
Okay, thank you. The response was really into that comment of going back to the 70s, or, I guess late 60s going into the 70s, about the single mothers. I think one of the good things that I have not seen, on YouTube or any other panels, but to bring those grandmothers in. And I have the question of how many individuals who specifically men, who tend to go back to that time frame and say, women chose to take men out the homes and stuff. Have they had discussions with their grandmothers and or the elders in their families to see what may have preceded those decisions, right? So not only that, having the conversation within your family, but also bringing them into the panel so they can give a true testament to that time and what was going on. Because I think it's more of a layered issue than just Black women chose to, put men out and raise kids and do things of their own. I think it's just a more expanded conversation that we're not having.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think it is a more of a layered conversation. It's not as one dimensional as it's been made out to be, and that I think that it's a deeper conversation that does need to be had, and maybe some perspective can be gained from it. But thank you for that, Mr. KP. I'm gonna let you go and give your final thoughts.
Thank you. My final thoughts. Pretty much, hey, masculine women work with feminine men, meaning the ones that are willing to take the demonstrative type of attitude and all that control, and masculine men work with feminine women. So whatever type you are on the gender side, just find what works for you. For me, I can work well with a feminine woman that's also partly modern. Like I said, Claire Huxtable, that's my template. You know, and I've seen them out there. Most times than not, they get snatched up before they're 28 or 30 because they're wise enough to know their value, but not they're going to wait till they're 35 and then try to do everything. Then they're like, hey, I'm still, you know, a good woman, so I'm going to, get taken off the market at a decent age. So it depends on your type. And if it works for you, it works for you. Some guys will say, hey, man, she's too demonstrative. Why you with her? Hey, it works for him because he's a feminine type dude. He might be a beta type dude. Who knows? But thank y'all for letting me be on this platform today. I didn't mean to be somewhat of the bad guy, but I'm speaking my mind. Y'all have a blessed weekend.
Thank you, Mr. KP. No, we appreciate your honesty. Thank you for joining us. We don't like the circle jerk thing. We like for people to come up and have different perspectives and be stay true to whatever it is they believe. And hopefully that, in my opinion, at least, I think that is how perspective is gained, and that's how other people are able to open their minds a little bit and maybe see things differently. So thank you for your contribution to the conversation.
No problem, ladies. Talk to y'all later on.
Peace out.
All right, thank you.
Aaron, thank you so much for your patience with us. What are your final thoughts on the discussion?
No problem. I'm a patient guy. Masculine women, they're here. Gen X kind of let us down a little bit, and hey, we can't do anything about that. But we are here, and we are in the information age, so we have the tools to do different. We have the tools to do better, and we can't do it unless we put in the work. We can't be lazy. We can't send our kids to school, the Gen Zs to school, thinking that the world won't raise them like they want to raise them. We have to raise our kids 24/7. If we want to change, we have to be the change. I do the same thing to my 14-year-old daughter. She was super progressive, super liberal, but I invite her into these different panels. I let her see what's going on, and you can actually see the differences in what people say. And she actually has a different mind and set now. And it's kind of good to have that. And it's good to have the ability to see outside of what the mainstream media wants you to see. That's why I appreciate this independent media as well as myself. You guys keep fighting, brothers. Keep fighting. If you want to make change, you be the change. You be the heads that you need to be, and we're gonna be all right. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Aaron. I appreciated your contribution to the conversation too. I like when we have married Black men with families take part in the conversation. And I also appreciate your honesty. You were able to speak from an aspect of, there was a time when my wife held it down, and I told her, I vowed to her that, she wouldn't have to work going forward once I was able to kind of rebound. And I like to hear those nuanced situations and people speaking from their own individual experiences. So thank you for that. Definitely appreciate you. Karzaya says Renee got a wrench. Oh boy, good show though. Thank you, Karzaya, for the support. We appreciate you. Listen, Renee got the chat popping.
Baby, Renee don't do nothing but show her ass, and so
she showed her tail worse than Lizzo today, baby. Renee was going in.
I don't know why Black Wizard think he gonna get out of the gang, baby. You in the gang. You gotta get jumped out. Like,
give it up. Yeah, it ain't gonna happen.
Right. Anyway. Baby, you already signed up. You with us for life. Sit down.
Exactly.
Chill out. I'm not taking me. No.
VHN, thank you for joining the panel. What are your final thoughts on the topic or discussion or anything that you want to add in closing?
BAGN, you on mute.
Uh-oh. You came off and then it went right back.
Oh,
There we
yeah,
go.
went back. There we go. Thank you for, inviting me into the conversation. I'm gonna kind of mirror what Erin said, as it does start with us. I don't think there's a one way, a right way, wrong way type of thing. I think it does. Everybody's on a spectrum, so different things work for different people. But I think we do need a kind of a hybrid where we take the things that did work for us from the past, from tradition, but also merge it in with a new way of thinking and doing things. Whether we know it or not, in the times that we're living in, we are going to have to go back to a lot of those traditional things, not just in the marriage sense, but just simple things as growing our own food and, going back to herbs and holistic things. So I think just doing a hybrid, being open to new experiences and doing things differently. And it doesn't necessarily have to not be what we've done in the past. And it doesn't have to be all progressive moving forward. I think we need a hybrid and we have to be open. And it starts with these type of discussions. So thank you for putting the show and the panel together.
Thank you for joining us. We absolutely thank you for adding your perspective, very articulate and has some very solid points. We are thankful that you joined us. I hope you come up again and engage with us on future discussions.
Mm-hmm.
Most definitely. Keep doing it.
Thank you. Enjoy your Sunday.
You both as well.
Thank you, BAGN.
This was a good discussion, as always. Very interesting. I can never predict where our conversations will go, but this was a good discussion nonetheless. And I enjoyed the different perspectives that were given by the different panelists. So definitely a dope discussion as it relates to whether or not modern women are too masculine. I think for some they will be. I actually just was while I was listening to the discussion, I was actually scrolling social media and I saw a meme that was saying that this woman said, "I'm so sick of these discussions about why marriages don't last like our grandparents' marriages. Life is different. If your granny had Instagram and knew how to read, she would have left Earl line as
Baby.
and it does make me think that there might be some truth to that. I do think that relationships don't are different than they once were, but I think that social media does definitely have an impact on why we don't see as many successful relationships. Information is at your fingertips. Like there are literal groups that post pictures of people's men and the dirt that they're doing, and it's just so accessible. It's not as easy for Earl to have a family across town. But listen, I don't think that that's the sole purpose, but I do think that that does have some impact. And like I said, I do think that the modern woman will be too masculine for some, but I also think that, that relationships are going to be redefined because this up and coming generation, baby, look, they are a completely different breed. But nonetheless, like I said, I enjoyed the conversation. Thank you to everybody who super chatted us and to Kit Clouds for cash apping us. Thank you, bro. And the chat, baby, the chat was on one. Renee, thank you for keeping the chat popping.
Shout out to D Mac the trucker. He says, in my closing, all modern women are 304s. If you marry one, you're a dummy. Just have fun and send them back to the streets.
D-Mac, that's pretty cold.
Baby, all D-Mac is sitting around doing is eating hot Cheetos, trying to figure out where he's going to get his next piece of ass from.
Listen, he's talking about modern women. That's why he over there eating sardines out the can, because he don't got a good woman to make him a home-cooked Sunday meal.
He ain't had no meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and string beans.
And potted meat and sardines.
Listen, ramen noodles with some rotisserie chicken in it. That's all you doing over there, D-Mac, for a home cooked meal, baby. Come on out the cold, baby. It's winter time for y'all ass too. Go and get you a good one. That part. Yep. Sitting over here talking about when it's coming, send them back to the streets. That's why y'all ass is skinny now. Y'all don't eat no more. Ain't nobody cooking for y'all ass. Oh, he said he in a relationship with a white woman. Baby,
Oh,
then
so
what
you
you
eating
talking about?
raisin filled potato salad? Okay, go ahead. And
Hey,
casseroles. Okay,
no wonder we see it. We got to.
enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Anywho, it was a good show, Concrete. I rather enjoyed myself today. And we hope you guys, this is our anniversary month.
That part.
So,
we got some stuff coming.
So yes, our little anniversary. So y'all celebrate us. This is going on our 2 years. Your girl used Lowry's after you had to keep buying this shit and putting it in the cabinet. She was like, what is this? Why does he keep buying
And
this?
they season the food after it's done, child, baby.
Child, that part. Talk about some damn salt and pepper. Sis ain't seen no damn. Get her some damn garlic powder for seasoning. For Christmas, baby.
That part.
Get us some onion powder, baby.
She ain't gonna know what to do with it.
Baby, don't let her put on some damn Saison packs. Oh, child. Tell her to chop up them damn onions and bell peppers, child. Get you some life.
I'm trying to tell him.
But anywho, look at this nigga. We don't care. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Look at Truth Teller. Look at Truth Teller, baby. Truth Teller been trying to get here all show. Truth Teller, where you been? You ain't gonna come up here and be
with that mess. Because he was in the chat popping big crap.
Truth Teller, what you got?
Hello. Hello.
Truth Teller sound like the white woman and got to you. What's going on, Truth Teller?
She knew he was coming up here with some mess. We can't hear nothing you saying with that Cricket wireless phone. Go take that Obama phone back, baby. We can't hear you.
Baby.
I give up. Okay, Truth Teller. We tried.
We'll holler at you, baby. We got to go. Look. Where the hell does this myth come from? White people put raisin in potato salad.
From white people.
Don't know how to cook barbecue. Oh, don't know how to barbecue and cook.
From white
people. Y'all don't know for real.
We know.
I got white people in my family. Ain't that what they say?
Listen, we know.
I got white people.
It's well documented, baby. But
I have 3 white friends. I know. Like, come on.
Keep reaching.
Anywho. Well, we will see you back sooner than later because I got stuff to do this week. And so everybody have a good week. Shout out to everybody who came through. Shout out to everybody in the chat, Cash App, Super Chat, and especially our panelists. Shout out to everybody. Everybody have a great start to the week. We out. And hit the damn like button on y'all way out. Bye.